Chapter 1007, The First Sword Principle. Chapter 1007, The First Sword Principle. The old senile has left, Governor. There is no longer any need for your friend to come. Jian Wushuang said. Indeed. I've sent him a message. The Dragon Wing Governor replied and eyed Jian Wushuang strangely. Jian Wushuang? Are you truly of the Eternal Realm level? About this. Jian Wushuang rubbed his nose awkwardly before he muttered, Let's have this conversation when we reach the city. Agreed. The Dragon Wing Governor assented with a nod. With that, Jian Wushuang immediately set off for the Dragon Wing City with the Dragon Wing Governor. Back at the governor's mansion of the Dragon Wing City, Jian Wushuang and the Dragon Wing Governor sat together and began their talk. Unless I am very much mistaken, Jian Wushuang, you're not a native of the Samsara continent. No, the Dragon Wing Governor spoke with a thoughtful smile. Why do you think so? Jian Wushuang asked with surprise. It would have been impossible for a person of your potential to remain unknown in the Samsara continent. This would only mean that you must be from the outside of the continent. You are a warrior from the Void continent, I wager? The Dragon Wing Governor hazarded a guess. You are quite perceptive, Master Governor. Jian Wushuang couldn't help grinning and admitted truthfully, Indeed, I come from the Void continent. I am here only to seek for the close kin of mine. It is as I expected. The Dragon Wing Governor remarked with a smile, That is why I have been communicating with others to help you ascertain the matter. Jin Yu had spoken the truth. His failure of securing information about your kin would mean that your close kin could either have risen above rank 7, or he might already be dead. Then again, I dare say there is no way you would readily accept the second result. That leaves you with only one option. You will have to find a rank 8 reincarnator of the Samsara Temple. Rank 8 reincarnators are Dao Masters at the pinnacle of rank 3. Even amongst the horde of warriors that throngs the Samsara Temple, there are but only a handful of warriors of such caliber. One would hardly expect to be able to even catch a glimpse of such elusive individuals. Even with my extensive influence, I am afraid I will not be able to help you in this errand. You have much to delve on your own from this point now. The Dragon Wing Governor acknowledged his regret for his inability to assist Jian Wushuang. I understand. Jian Wushuang nodded gently, then he said, Nevertheless, there is no longer need for hurry since my father is not among the reincarnators below rank 7. The large and wide Samsara continent teems with numerous warriors. I can travel around while looking for him. Reincarnators of the Samsara Temple did not have to worry much about their own safety once they had reached the level of rank 6. Rank 7 reincarnators were at an even higher level, which made it more difficult to kill them. His father would surely be safe if he has surpassed rank 7. Thus, there would be hardly any need for haste. Where are you going next? The Dragon Wing Governor asked. I did liberate the warrior slave from the gladiators' arena who is of the Rock Demon clan. I was once indebted to another great warrior of their clan. I intend to go there first. Jian Wushuang said. When do you intend to set off? The governor pressed on. Now. Jian Wushuang said. I see. In that case, I will delay you no longer. The governor smiled, waving his hand as he conjured 2 magical tokens. Here are 2 tokens. One of them is my message token. Send word to me at need. I will do my utmost to have you as best I can. The other token is the most detailed star map of the Samsara continent available. 9/10 of the territories of the Samsara continent is mapped upon it. I think it would be useful to you. Thank you very much, Master Governor. Jian Wushuang replied. He accepted gladly the 2 tokens and bid his farewell to the Dragon Wing Governor. I shall hope that we will be able to meet again, Master Governor. On the same day, Jian Wushuang began his journey to the bastion of the Rock Demon clan with Qing Bin with him. Gliding over the swords of a broad and wide plain, Jian Wushuang pored over the star map that was given to him by the Dragon Wing Governor. It is still a great distance between here and the region of the dwellings of the Rock Demon clan. With hardly any usable wormholes on the Samsara continent, we will have to traverse over the entire stretch on foot. Given our traveling speed, it'll take Qing Bin and me at least 5 years to complete the journey. Jian Wushuang murmured to himself. 5 years was hardly a long time for Jian Wushuang now. In the coming days, I will delve into the studies of sword principles during my journey. Jian Wushuang said, smiling cheerfully. He cast a look to his companion behind him and beckoned, "Let us continue then, Qing Bin." "Yes, master," Qing Bin said, nodding with respect. Together, they slowly glided towards the lands of the Rock Demon clan. And so their journey began. Jian Wushuang would often continue his studies on sword principles during their journey. For the past 3 years at the governor's mansion, he had greatly improved his grasp on swordsmanship. It would not be long until he created his own sword principle. He was rapidly making good progress, devoting himself to intense research of sword principles with the 19 sword principles from the scroll as invaluable reference materials. During the journey, Wushuang would occasionally stop to find a quiet place to meditate and assimilate the things that he learned. There were times when he would join in with fights against other warriors when they stumbled upon duels or battles, using only his skills with the sword as a means of training by deliberately suppressing his might. He would sometimes look for a place to sleep, where he would slumber for days or even months. Thus, with the odd behaviors of Jian Wushuang making sporadic stops and delays during his journey, what was at first a 5-year journey had turned into a 15-year pilgrimage before he reached the lands of the Rock Demon clan's dwelling. It was midnight, where the same blood-red moon he once saw shone eerily from the sky. Jian Wushuang was practicing his skills with the sword alone in a forest. The strokes he performed looked odd and peculiar. Indeed, peculiar would be an apt way of describing him. At times, his strokes were swift like lightning, and yet at times, they seemed slow and frail before turning furious again like an angry serpent, intense and vicious. The strokes he demonstrated were all similar in nature, yet they were displayed in various different styles, merged together as one unique sword principle. The principle was a bizarre amalgam of different styles and philosophy, a wild and audacious blend of differing principles unified into one morbidly coalesced sword principle. At length, Jian Wushuang finally stopped. "My applause, Jian Wushuang. You finally created the first sword principle of your own." The Gu King's approving voice came. "Ah," Jian Wushuang grinned brightly. He had been studying extensively the 19 sword principles from the scroll and the acumen of creating the strongest sword principle. He continued studying and buried himself in profound study and training. At long last, after 15 years, he had finally created a sword principle of his own. The sword principle might look crude and simple, it was, nonetheless, a beginning for him. "What do you make of my newly created sword principle, Gu King?" Jian Wushuang asked, beaming with delight. "This sword principle?" The Gu King's voice faltered. After a moment's hesitation, he continued, "Well, how can I say? It seems odd and peculiar." Chapter 1008 Turbulence. Chapter 1008 Turbulence. "Peculiar?" Jian Wushuang asked in return, confused. "The sword principle you created seems like a cluttered blend of several different sword principles. It may be a sword principle you created on your own, the sword principle seems nevertheless a tad chaotic." The Gu King said, "Chaotic?" Jian Wushuang murmured in stunned silence. Even so, he could understand the reason for the Gu King's opinion. Having created the sword principle himself, yet even he knew neither what to call it nor how should he name it. The sword principle was forged by fusing the several styles of the many sword principles from the scroll, embodying the differing doctrines of several sword principles. It should be expected that the sword principle would most undoubtedly be disorganized. I agree it is chaotic now. But this sword principle can be greatly improved when I am fully able to completely coalesce all the sword's principles as one. Jian Wushuang remarked earnestly. There is a sense in forging a brand new sword principle by integrating hundreds or even thousands of sword principles. Nevertheless, no one can truly tell if this sword principle can still be enhanced into your strongest sword principle. The Gu King said, "Patience." Jian Wushuang said, smiling. "This is but merely my first time. I will learn the ropes gradually." Jian Wushuang was rather delighted that he had finally created a sword principle of his own. He would ponder on the rest when the time was ripe. It may be a most ordinary sword principle, but with its creation came the power that now elevates my power. At last, I truly possess a Dao Master's battle strength at the pinnacle of rank 3. Jian Wushuang smiled, feeling pleased with himself before he turned to his side. "Qin Bin." "Master." Qin Bin acknowledged. Qin Bin appeared before Jian Wushuang, towering at more than 3 meters tall, clad in armor of crimson scarlet. For 15 years, Qin Bin had tirelessly followed Jian Wushuang everywhere, accommodating to Jian Wushuang's whimsical and sporadic delays during the journey that have cost them substantial time. Still, Qin Bin had always been loyal and respectful to Jian Wushuang without complaint. Never once he had forgotten that it was Jian Wushuang who saved him from the gladiators' arena. "Is that the territory of the Rock Demon clan just ahead?" Qin Bin Jian Wushuang asked. "Indeed, Master. We will be within the territory after crossing over this plain." Qin Bin answered. "Very well, we should continue without delay then," Jian Wushuang said. "Yes, Master," Qin Bin replied. There was a hint of delight and joy in his voice. With that, Jian Wushuang and Qin Bin set off immediately, crossing over the pasture of meadows and reached the lands of the Rock Demon clan. "Soon, I will finally return to my population." As they venture closer and closer in the direction of the bastion of the Rock Demon clan, Qin Bin grew more and more excited, with a noticeable spring of delight in his steps. Even Jian Wushuang could feel the joy radiating from him. But they had only just reached the lands of the clan when, boom, boom, the clamor and bedlam of battle and carnage could be heard from afar. From a distance, Jian Wushuang could see that there were fighting and bloodshed from where he stood. There were dozens of people of opposing factions fighting in the battle. The warriors of one faction were quite large in build. Even the shortest one was more than 2 meters tall. The Titanic giants attacked violently in a crude and clumsy fashion, in great part due to their awfully strong physique. Nonetheless, they evidently weaker in number. The other faction had more than 20 men, all of whom were of the Eternal Realm, and 1/3 of them had reached its peak. Despite being weaker in brute strength and defensive capabilities, these men were more agile and nimble in their movements and maneuvers. The battle waged brutally between both sides, with the giants at an absolute disadvantage. "Kill them all. The entire Rock Demon clan must die. Leave none of them alive." A peal of harsh roars came from the battlefield, the tremors of the pandemonium shaking even the heaven and earth. Jian Wushuang and Qin Bin came closer to the site of battle. Another group of over a dozen men joined in the battle. They were apparently the reinforcements of the smaller and more agile group. Already suffering a hard-fought battle, the side of the Rock Demon clan were immediately being subdued and trampled in an instant. "Oh no!" Seeing this, Qin Bin turned angry and furious, his eyes flared with murderous rage. He cursed, "Damned Black Python clan. Those are my kin, Master Wushuang, the people of the Rock Demon clan. They are in danger. I need to help them right now." As he spoke, Qin Bin hurled himself forward. Jian Wushuang stood motionless, merely watching as his eyes slightly narrowed. The aura of Qin Bin erupted in its fullness. His long adventures in the outside world and the many life-and-death fights at the gladiators' arena had welled within him a blend of brooding anger, remorse, resentment, and hate. These emotions helped shape the savage and violent aura that he unleashed, sweeping forth like a ripple of shockwave and instantly overwhelming everyone at the site of the battle. With the unexpected appearance of Qin Bin, who had returned, looks of relief and hope filled the faces of his kins of the Rock Demon clan. "You're Qin Bin? It's brother Qin Bin. It's brother Qin Bin. Quick, Qin Bin. Stop them." But the enemies from the other faction, the Black Python clan, merely sneer mockingly at the sight of Qin Bin's appearance. "Qin Bin? That is a name we have long heard before. It's said that he was once well known within the Rock Demon clan. However, he vanished afterward. There were rumors that he had left for an adventure, but I didn't expect his return. Nevertheless, there is nothing that a lone giant of the Eternal Realm can do to defy our might. Qingbin returns to seek his own doom. Say no more, just butcher him along with the rest. Several warriors of the Black Python clan immediately threw themselves at Qingbin. Qingbin's strength was at the peak of the Eternal Realm. No one here could hope to be able to match him in strength in single combat. But there were simply just too many enemies against him, like a lone tree trying its best to weather a horrific storm. The warriors of the Black Python clan were all of the Eternal Realm too. Any three of them who wielded strengths at the peak of the Eternal Realm could easily subdue Qingbin. The tide of battle had hardly shifted even with Qingbin's arrival. So life is also turbulent even in the lands of the Rock Demon clan, Jian Wushuang murmured. Noticing his cue to act, his figure shimmered abruptly and he directly appeared at the center of the battle. His sudden leap into the fray shocked and surprised everyone. Another one. But he seems different. Is he not from the Rock Demon clan? Pay no heed. Just slaughter him along with others. Burning deeply in a fit of bloodlust, several warriors of the Black Python clan rushed over at once to attack Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang shot them a sharp look with a cold gaze and opened his mouth suddenly. Get lost. He emitted so angry a roar that held tremendous ancient god powers which were immediately dispersed like a powerful wave of force that swept across the site of battle. Everyone ceased their movements in astonishment and bewilderment. The kinsmen of the Rock Demon clan all looked at Jian Wushuang with awe. Panic rose from their hearts. At the same time, the marauders from the Black Python clan clutched and clawed at their eyes and ears in agony as they crumbled to the ground, wailing and crying in pain. Blood trickled out of their damaged ears and eyes. None of them were dead, but the people from the Black Python clan were all shocked, discombobulated and paralyzed by this angry roar. Our retreat. Retreat now. The chieftain of the Black Python clan, a warrior of the Eternal Realm himself, howled a harsh cry, signaling the withdrawal of his men. None of them dared to remain as they fled back to where they came from miserably. Some ventured a final glimpse of fear and terror at Jian Wushuang as they leave, hoping a final glance at the person who had effortlessly routed them with a mere roar that struck despair and panic into them. Chapter 1009, God Hong. Chapter 1009, God Hong. In mere moments, the numerous warriors of the Black Python clan who were formerly seething with bloodthirsty rage were all routed. Jian Wushuang's angry roar had struck so great a fear into their hearts that their blood froze. None of them dared to stay and endure his wrath. Master Wushuang. Qingbin went to Jian Wushuang immediately. The rest of the Rock Demon clan gazed at Jian Wushuang with gratitude and awe. Thank you for rescuing us, Master Wushuang. Qingbin said. If it were not for Jian Wushuang's help, he and his kin would have been slaughtered by the Black Python clan. Why the hostilities by the Black Python clan? Jian Wushuang asked. It is as thus. Qingbin explained, there are nearly 100 races and clans in this region. Among these populations, the Rock Demon clan and the Black Python clan reign the strongest. Both are the stronger populations around here. Hence, conflicts and battles ensue tirelessly as both clans fought to maintain their influence and interests. Animosity between both clans have persisted for many years now. I see, Jian Wushuang remarked, his eyebrows raising with faint surprise. The Rock Demon clan, one of the stronger populations. Prior to arriving here, he had presumed that the Rock Demon clan was a common or lesser population. Never did he know that the clan was a stronger population that commanded a minor degree of authority. Even across the entire Samsara continent, the stronger populations numbered few and scarce. They were clans or race that possessed considerably potent overall strength. Take me to God Hong, Qingbin. Jian Wushuang said promptly. Yes. Qingbin immediately led the way. Before long, they reached the stronghold of the Rock Demon clan. The stronghold of the Rock Demon clan was surrounded by a ring of mountains. Within the bastion of the clan were numerous buildings and structures that housed millions of their kin. Even among the stronger populations, it was rare for a race to have a population of millions of kinsmen. The Rock Demon clan was beyond any doubt one of the stronger populations that commanded respectable overall strength over the lesser races and clans. Still, it was among the weakest of stronger populations across the continent. They have 10 Dao Masters in their midst, the least possible number of Dao Masters for stronger populations. The greatest warrior of the clan was none other than God Hong, a Dao Master of rank 3. Still, he wielded only the elementary proficiency of rank 3. It was the awakened rock demon bloodline that flowed through his veins which had endowed him with an extremely sturdy physique, allowing him a slight edge even in fights against rank 3 Dao Masters with advanced proficiency. Following closely behind Qing Bin, Jian Wushuang was led directly into the bastion of the Rock Demon clan, where he was arranged for an audience with God Hong in a grand hall. Clad in armor of cyan hue, God Hong was a bald man who towered at an intimidating height of more than 5 meters. There he stood, they saw, at the forefront of the hall like a huge mountain. Is he God Hong? Jian Wushuang asked himself, staring at God Hong with astonishment and disbelief. The mere shred of consciousness of God Hong during their encounter in the ancient world had left a vivid and lasting impression that had never ceased to awe him. Jian Wushuang could hardly forget the amazement and awe that he reserved especially for the consciousness that was shaped by the residual powers left in a mere severed finger of God Hong. Yet now, meeting God Hong for the first time in person, Jian Wushuang could hardly feel neither admiration nor adoration for the person he once respected. Brother Hong, it is I, Qing Bin, who has returned. Qing Bin rushed over to God Hong and fell to his knees before the hulking man with great excitement, bowing his head down on the ground with utmost reverence as his voice echoed through the alcoves of the hall. It is good that you have returned. On your feet now. Relieved and comforted, God Hong dismissed with a simple wave of his hand as he watched his long-lost kin immediately got to his feet. This is Master Jian Wushuang, Brother Hong. He is the reason that I am able to return alive. More so, it was he who had earlier saved our kinsmen from the Black Python clan and had routed their warriors. Oh! God Hong turned to look at Jian Wushuang. My name is Jian Wushuang, Senior. My deepest respects to you. Jian Wushuang greeted him. Jian Wushuang? God Hong asked strangely. There was a faint glimpse of recognition in his eyes. You might remember, Senior, that many years before, a severed finger of yours had fallen into a domain called the ancient world. The finger contained a sliver of your consciousness. The consciousness from the severed finger had encountered a young fellow and had taught him the immortality secret skill. The young fellow was also imparted with the technique of enhanced magic. Thunderbolt. Jian Wushuang said, smiling. God Hong's gaze instantly transfixed upon Jian Wushuang with a surprised stare as he realized who Jian Wushuang was. He said, You are the young man from the ancient world. I am. Jian Wushuang said. How is this possible? God Hong looked at Jian Wushuang with amazement. He said, You were but a fresh sapling then, still young and untrained in combat and martial skills when the shred of my consciousness met you. It has hardly been 2,000 years, and yet, in such a short time, you have managed to achieve such power and strength. God Hong was filled with astonishment. He had merely intended to show some kindness to a helpless weakling when they first met. Despite once encouraging Jian Wushuang to reach for greater heights and proposing that the young man visit him in the future, he did not expect that Jian Wushuang would indeed thrive and progress so swiftly. But now, Jian Wushuang had indeed come to him in less than 2,000 years. You had saved Qing Bin and had repelled our enemies from the Black Python clan. I simply don't know how to express my gratitude to you. God Hong said with a smile. You are being too polite, Senior. I would not be here if it were not for the kindness that you have shown me so many years ago. Jian Wushuang said. Nevertheless, Jian Wushuang spoke true. His encounter with God Hong had given him the means which enabled the breakthrough of his strength and granted him the immortality secret skill. The very same immortality secret skill had been key to his continued success. It was hardly an exaggeration that it was God Hong who had paved the way for Jian Wushuang's climb to power. Ha! I had helped you then because I had perceived you as a pleasant and likable young man. Yet, never would I be able to foretell that you would be able to blossom and thrive to such greatness. God Hong burst into laughter as all semblances of his intimidating and stern self immediately diminished. Just then, God Hong muttered with surprise. His expression took a drastic change. What is wrong, Brother Hong? Qing Bin asked, looking at God Hong. It's a beacon calling for help. I must look into it right away. God Hong said grimly. Could it be the Black Python clan again? Qing Bin asked, his face darkened with gloom. I am afraid it is true. There have been many changes within the Black Python clan while you were away. They have revolutionized their inner workings that they have now landed us, the Rock Demon clan, in a very dire and disadvantaged position. God Hong lamented with a sigh before he turned to glance at Jian Wushuang. I am afraid I have business to attend to, young friend. Our conversation will have to continue some other time. Please stay with us and enjoy our hospitality while you're here. Qing Bin will show you around our clan. There is an area which might interest you. It is a place where it might be useful to students in the skills of swordsmanship like you. Qing Bin will lead you there as well. With that, God Hong took his leave and left. Please come with me, Master Wushuang, Qing Bin said with a smile. Very well. Jian Wushuang replied curiously as he nodded. God Hong had mentioned of a site which will help greatly the students of the mastery of swordsmanship. What manner of place could that be? Chapter 1010 The Legacy of the Sword Emperor. Chapter 1010 The Legacy of the Sword Emperor. The bastion of the Rock Demon clan was a wide and large city. Qing Bin and Jian Wushuang had wandered long before they finally came to the bottom of a huge mountain gorge that was deep behind one of the great mountains that overlooked the city. They were between the massive rocky-faced walls of the deep ravine. Here we are, Master Wushuang, Qing Bin said as they came to a stop. The finger of his outstretched arm pointed to the huge jagged walls. Look, Master. Jian Wushuang looked closely into the distance. What he saw made him froze. It's... With his eyes twinkling with awe and amazement, Jian Wushuang saw many marks upon the walls. Unlike the rough faces of the walls, the marks were incredibly precise and smooth with varying depths and declinations, very much similar to the marks left upon a slab of butter by a hot and keen blade. These were all marks left by swords. Marks that have cleaved and hewed deep into the solid walls of rock with differing depth. There were 9 of them in all. Jian Wushuang looked at the 9 sword marks on the walls of the chasm, feeling horrified and yet amazed. Too smooth. These sword marks are just too smooth. How sharp would a sword have to be capable of carving so deeply and smoothly into solid rock? How swift would the skills of its wielder have to be able to harness such power? Jian Wushuang breathed absent-mindedly as he studied the first sword mark. The first sword mark was the shallowest of the 9. Despite its age, Jian Wushuang could still faintly perceive the aura left by the stroke, a destructive will to inflict damage that appalled him. As he examined the mark, Jian Wushuang could slowly envision a figure, the silhouette of a swordsman who swung his sword and left the mark on the wall with finesse and grace. Too fast. This stroke is too fast. Jian Wushuang gasped, astonished before he moved on to the second sword mark. The second mark was deeper still, containing a richer residue of aura left so long ago. Jian Wushuang could envision once more the figure of the swordsman brandishing his blade. The dance of his sword bore the vestiges of the same swordsmanship, the only difference that this second mark was left by a stroke swifter than the first. Already the stroke which had birthed the first sword mark was fast enough to amaze Jian Wushuang, but the stroke that had created the second mark was even faster still. Then he saw the third, the fourth, and the subsequent marks that followed. As the marks became deeper and deeper, the swordsman from his vision demonstrated the strokes of his swordsmanship with speeds that outvied one after another, growing increasingly faster and faster. Finally, he saw the 9th and the final sword mark. The mark cleaved deep into the rock that it appeared it could even sunder the mountain half. It clearly bore the traces of the strongest force unleashed by the swiftest stroke. In his vision, Jian Wushuang could fully visualize the silhouette of the swordsman, showing to him the swordsmanship in its fullness. The speed of the stroke was what left him horrified. It was so fast that not even Jian Wushuang could see it clearly. It bore such terrible swiftness that Jian Wushuang knew even he himself would only be helpless before such an overwhelming speed. Finally, he saw the ninth and the final sword mark. I believe it was an incredibly powerful swordsman who was once here to meditate on his mastery of swordsmanship and hone them to perfection. The 9 marks on the wall of the gorge were left during his training. Jian Wushuang thought to himself. All 9 marks were left by the very same stroke, repeated again and again. But the differences in the depths of the strokes showed the gradual rise in force that was accorded by the increase of speed in the execution of the stroke. It was, beyond a doubt, the manifestation of how the swordsman had pushed his skills to its limit step by step. "What do you think of them, Master Wushuang?" Qingbin asked as he looked at Jian Wushuang. Extremely shocked. Jian Wushuang answered truthfully. "Everyone from our clan, those who study swordsmanship, wore the very same amazed and shocked expression that you now wear when they first laid eyes on these marks," Qingbin said with a smile. It was about 20,000 years ago when a mysterious swordsman happened to venture here. Struck by a sudden glimpse of inspiration, he stopped here and meditated on his skills. He was then discovered by some of my kin, who had tried to drive him away. But in his act to ward off those who disturbed his meditation, he carelessly cast a blow from his sword that had then created the first mark that you had seen earlier. This terrified everyone present, including Brother Hong. With respects for his skills, Brother Hong commanded that no one were to disturb the meditation of the swordsman. In fact, he had even assigned sentinels who watched for the safety of the swordsman, guarding him peacefully at the entrances of the gorge. For 2 years, the swordsman remained until his departure. We then discovered the 9 sword marks that he had left on the granite wall of the chasm. They were gifts from him, in return for the hospitality that we have accorded him for 2 years. Compensation, Jian Wushuang uttered, breaking into a giggle. The 9 sword marks were a great boon to any swordsman seeking to hone their skills. It was a very heavy gift from the swordsman to the Rock Demon clan for his 2-year-long stay in the ravine. "Do you know of the name of this master swordsman, Qingbin?" Jian Wushuang asked. "I do," Qingbin promptly said. Before he left, he had revealed that his name was Sunrise. Sunrise? The Sunrise Sword Emperor? Jian Wushuang gasped, his eyes opening wide. There was but only one swordsman in the entire Green Fire world who bore the name of Sunrise. He was none other than the Sunrise Sword Emperor, the undisputed greatest swordsman of the Green Fire world. "No wonder," Jian Wushuang said, "no wonder these marks are so powerful and incredible. These are the hallmarks of the skills of the Sunrise Sword Emperor himself." Jian Wushuang felt a rapturous delight in his heart as he looked in awe at the sword marks. It was imperative that he created a stronger sword principle. The 9 sword marks left by the Sunrise Sword Emperor would be of great hope to that vocation. Most importantly, the 9 swords marks showcased a gradual process to pursue perfection. These sword marks, Jian Wushuang stared at the first sword scar carefully, instantly fascinated by the inspiration it embodied. Within moments, his eyes blinked shut. "Master Wushuang." Qingbin tried to call out to him, but he saw Jian Wushuang closing his eyes suddenly before he drew his sword and began waving it around as he practiced his strokes in the middle of 2 lofty mountain faces. Realizing that Jian Wushuang was ensnared by a similar reverie of an awakening inspiration, Qingbin retreated silently out of the gorge, leaving Jian Wushuang alone deep in his meditation peacefully. Completely awashed with a euphoric delirium, Jian Wushuang fell into a deep trance of meditation, losing completely all sense of time. In a mere flash, 3 days had passed, but Jian Wushuang was still deep in his trance, waving his sword in practice. But the speed of his skills had increased substantially. Floating in mid-air, God Hong, who had returned from his business, and Qing Bin stood abreast side by side, watching at Jian Wushuang, who was still inside the gorge. Our young friend shares a certain kismet with me, and he has great potential. In only 2,000 years, he had managed to reach such immense strength. It will be hardly long before he truly becomes an invincible warrior. God Hong smiled and then glanced at Qing Bin beside him, saying, "Let no one into the gorge for now. We will leave our young friend here on his own as he mediates peacefully." Chapter 10-11, Aurora Sword Principle. Chapter 10-11, Aurora Sword Principle. In the rift of the territory of the Rock Demon clan. Jian Wushuang was stunned when seeing the 9 sword scars on the mountain wall. Judging from the 9 sword scars on the wall, he could imagine Sunrise Sword Emperor swiped faster and faster. The last one was so fast that it was even beyond Jian Wushuang's imagination, which completely refreshed his knowledge of swordsmanship. He then forgot about everything, immersing himself in meditation upon sword principle. Under the command of God Hong, the clansmen of the Rock Demon clan who used to meditate upon sword principle didn't come to the rift to bother Jian Wushuang during these days. Jian Wushuang threw himself into study, meditation, and practice. In a wink, 5 years had passed. Jian Wushuang stood quietly in the rift, staring at a vertical boulder in the front. Then he drew out his sword right away. Jian Wushuang drew his long sword out. With a flash of sword light, he put it back to the sheath. If an ordinary person saw this, he wouldn't believe his eyes, or he would think that Jian Wushuang didn't even move. Yet at this moment, the vertical boulder in front of Jian Wushuang was sliced in the middle of its body and finally fell to the ground. Its cut was extremely smooth and flat. Seeing this, Jian Wushuang couldn't help putting a smile on his face. "Congratulations, Jian Wushuang. You have created the second sword principle of your own." The voice of Gu King rang in Jian Wushuang's mind. "Ah," Jian Wushuang said with a grin. It never occurred to him that there would be 9 sword scars left by Sunrise Sword Emperor in the territory of the Rock Demon clan. What was more, the 9 sword scars were from easy to difficult, which made it quite easy for Jian Wushuang to meditate on. Through this meditation, he had been inspired in many ways. It helped him create his second sword principle over the 5 years. "I created the first sword principle by absorbing the essences of many sword principles and integrating them to make a more powerful and horrible sword principle. Through evolution, this sword principle should unify into one at the end. But the second sword principle," Jian Wushuang said. Jian Wushuang squinted slightly. The second sword principle came from the 9 sword scars left by Sunrise Sword Emperor through meditation. It also focuses on speed. By now I just learned its basis. It was also a sword principle at the most common level. As for its name, for now, I shall just call it Aurora Sword Principle. He had created 2 sword principles. One of them was Coalescence Sword Principle, and the other one was Aurora Sword Principle. Both of them were sword principles at the common level. Yet, there was still a lot of room for improvement. Needless to say, as for Coalescence Sword Principle, he could make it more and more powerful by integrating more sword principles and making a perfect combination of essence of those sword principles. As for Aurora Sword Principle, speed was the most important thing. Now that Jian Wushuang had only preliminarily mastered it, obviously he could make it more powerful. "Jian Wushuang, although you have created 2 sword principles and enhanced your overall strength, your swordsmanship can't enable you to display your sword principles to full extent. Therefore, now you shouldn't focus on improving the level of sword principle. Instead, you should turn to swordsmanship suitable for your sword principles." The voice of Gu King rang in his mind again. Only when your sword principle match with your swordsmanship perfectly can you completely fulfill yourself. "I see." Jian Wushuang nodded and said. He was also aware of his drawbacks on swordsmanship. Boundless Heaven Sword Art was his best swordsmanship. However, Boundless Heaven Sword Art just focused on power, which was apparently not suitable to improve his 2 sword principles. It's not difficult to create a matching swordsmanship to fully display Coalescence Sword Principle. After all, it unifies all swordsmanships into one, which makes it applicable to various swordsmanships. The problem is Aurora sword principle, Jian Wushuang muttered to himself. About the swordsmanship suitable for Aurora sword principle, I do have an idea, but it needs to be tested in constant efforts. The 9 sword scars left by Sunrise Sword Emperor are profound and extensive. It has a lot in common with my Aurora sword principle. It probably can inspire me in many ways to create a matching swordsmanship. Jian Wushuang looked up at the 9 sword scars on the mountain wall and then started digging into swordsmanship. When he first arrived Samsara continent, he was so eager to look for his father. But now he was totally calmed. The 9 sword scars left by Sunrise Sword Emperor were of great use to him. He would certainly want to stay longer to improve his sword principles as well as his swordsmanship level. As time went by, Jian Wushuang had long forgotten about everything else. In a flash, Jian Wushuang had already been meditating in the rift for 13 years. Upon the void outside the rift, God Hong and Qing Bin stood side by side. Master Wushuang is still cultivating there. Looking down at Jian Wushuang, who was absorbed in studying swordsmanship, Qing Bin secretly praised. He has completely indulged in swordsmanship meditation. God Hong said with a smile, Jian Wushuang is not only extremely talented but also a lot more diligent than most people. No wonder he can make such an achievement in less than 2,000 years. By the way, during these days, was there discontent from the clansmen who used to meditate in the rift? No. Qing Bin shook his head and said with a smile, when Master Wushuang first came to our clan, he helped us to defeat numerous experts of the Black Python clan and saved a lot of our clansmen. Everyone in our clan knows what he did. They appreciate him a lot, including clansmen who cultivate sword principles. Therefore, no one has complained about it when they knew Master Wushuang has been cultivating in the rift. That's good. God Hong said, nodding slightly, this young man has got extraordinary potentials. He'll achieve great success in the future. It's also beneficial for us to be friendly with such a potential expert. That's right. Qing Bin nodded along and said, speaking of the Black Python clan, something might go wrong among them judging from their actions these days. God Hong suddenly frowned and said, in terms of strength, the Black Python clan is much stronger than us. In the battle between us, they will come at us outrageously as long as we win a little. However, this time we have gained such a big advantage, yet they didn't react it at all. It is absolutely unusual. Take my order. Tell our clansmen to be careful as much as possible. My gut tells me that the Black Python clan is planning something drastic. Something drastic? Qing Bin appeared puzzled but immediately realized. He said, I see. God Hong and Qing Bin didn't stay any longer in this void. Soon they left. Jian Wushuang was still alone in the rift, concentrating on practicing his swordsmanship. Since he created the second sword principle, it had been 8 years in total. His swordsmanship was quite different from what it used to be. Chapter 10-12, Incident. Chapter 10-12, Incident. In a grand hall, many experts of the Black Python clan gathered together. Everyone looked quite excited. We've finally come to this day after preparing for so long. The leader of the Black Python clan was an insidious man with a little black snake coiling on his shoulder. He looked around with ice-cold eyes like vipers and said, we are going to do it today, follow everything by the plan. This time, we must make them pay a heavy price and leave them to go to the dogs. Yes. One after another, the experts of the Black Python clan around him nodded excitedly. After fighting against each other for so many years in this territory, the enmity between the Black Python clan and the Rock Demon clan had long gone into a situation in which they would fight to the death. The two populations would trample the other side underfoot downright without hesitation given a chance. And this time, for the Black Python clan, it was definitely a now or never chance. Master Dian, later when God Hong shows up, I will have to bother you to deal with him. The insidious man looked towards a black-robed elder sitting next to him and said with a hint of modesty. On hearing this, the black-robed elder raised his head slightly and unfolded his skinny old face. Black mysterious cracks could be seen all over one of his cheeks. If Jian Wushuang was there, would have recognized him at a glance. The black-robed elder was Di Yen, the expert from the Sky-Devouring clan who worked with Jin Yu to ambush Dragon Wing Governor and him outside of Jin Yu's castle back then. Di Yen came from the bloodline of the Sky-Devouring clan and liked to devour the essence blood of all kinds of exotic beasts. He once had his eye on Dragon Wing Governor. However, he had to give up because Jian Wushuang got in his way. After that, he traveled along and happened to come to this territory as well. Then he accepted the invitation from the experts of the Black Python clan and came to help them defeat the Rock Demon clan. The Rock Demon clan has been known for powerful body defensive ability. God Hong had awakened a part of the bloodline and reached the level of rank 3 Dao Master. Even I am not totally sure that I could kill him for good, but I could manage to wound him badly. The black-robed elder Di Yen said, "It will be enough as long as you can inflict serious injuries on him and hold down his battle strength for a short while. If the plan works, the overall strength of the Rock Demon clan will be severely cut down, and God Hong will also be unable to use his strength. Then our Black Python clan could unite the experts to wipe out the whole Rock Demon clan." The insidious man said in a low voice. In this way, the Black Python clan should be the only advanced population over the territory ever after. Di Yen laughed and said, "Haha, I still have to bother you to help us achieve that, Master Di Yen." The insidious man laughed along and said, Soon the experts of the Black Python set off. In the rift of the territory of the Rock Demon clan. The whole rift was full of sword essence. Yet Jian Wushuang, who was in the very center of sword essence, stopped and slowly put back his sword. "After digging for so many years, I finally completed this move," Jian Wushuang said with a delightful face. "Jian Wushuang, the talent you have got on sword principle is undoubtedly marvelous. You can create such a weird swordsmanship." Gu King spoke to his mind. "Your sword principles are just at the common level, but the move you created is tremendous. Even those experts who have created sword principle at the universe level won't necessarily be capable of working it out. I have to thank Sunrise Sword Emperor for leaving these 9 sword scars. Besides, I am also grateful to Master Ku, who guided me at the beginning." Jian Wushuang laughed and said. After Jian Wushuang created the second sword principle of his own named Swordplay of Aurora, he spent 8 years digging into swordsmanship. By now, he had finally made a great achievement on swordsmanship and fulfilled his goal. While this original body of mine was indulged in the study of swordsmanship, the other one has been meditating on the connotation of the strongest sword principle. Thus I have come to some understandings in which I feel that I am quite close to creating my third sword principle. Jian Wushuang smiled and said, "People would surely be deeply shocked if they were told about someone who had created 2 sword principles successively in just a few decades and was about to create the third one. After all, sword principles were unimaginably profound. There was no way they could be created at will." But Jian Wushuang was different. He got a great gift in sword principle along with many treasures and opportunities that facilitated him. Most important of all, he had the strongest sword heart. The rule that the strongest sword heart must be metamorphosized from the strongest sword soul played an essential role in the meditation on sword principles. In comparison to other warriors of sword principles, Jian Wushuang got a much greater innate advantage. Even Gu King said that Jian Wushuang should at least create one of the strongest sword principles before he became a Dao Master. Yet how many cultivators of sword principle would dare to set their goal to achieve the strongest sword principle in the whole Green Fire world? But for Jian Wushuang, who had the strongest sword heart, achieving the strongest sword principle was merely a starting point. Jian Wushuang was murmuring, but suddenly, boom! A dreadful roar came down from the distant void with a rush, carrying a horrible aftermath that spread to the whole Rock Demon clan. Ha ha! From today on, the Rock Demon clan will no longer exist on the Samsara continent. A loud and cold laughter came through the air like a heavy thunder, echoing in the entire residence of the Rock Demon clan. In an instant, the whole Rock Demon clan was startled. Bush, 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 bush. Whoosh! Numerous experts of the Rock Demon Clan rushed towards the residence of the Rock Demon Clan with astonishment and anger on their face. What happened? Jian Wushuang glided to the void above the rift. Overlooking to the distant void, he could see the edge of his vision where several grand auras were approaching slowly. There were 8 auras in total, and all of them belonged to the real experts at Dao Master level. And most importantly, the 8 Dao Masters all came with tremendous killing intent. Apparently, they were not from the Rock Demon Clan. What happened? Jian Wushuang said doubtfully. Master Wushuang, Master Wushuang. As there came an anxious voice, Qingbin glided to Jian Wushuang hurriedly. Qingbin, what happened? Why would there be some people directly intruding the residence of the Rock Demon Clan? Jian Wushuang frowned and asked. With 10 Dao Masters, led by God Hong who was a rank 3 Dao Master, the Rock Demon Clan was some way an advanced population. Within this territory, no one dared to mess with them except for the Black Python Clan. Although the strength of the Black Python Clan was slightly greater and the fight between the two populations was a bit crazy, the Black Python Clan wouldn't dare to assault the city of the Rock Demon Clan if there was no specific treasure that they coveted so much. Something happened. Something serious happened. Qingbin growled in a low voice and his eyes turned red. He said, "The Black Python Clan set us up. A medium population was bribed by them and joined their conspiracy. For elders of US who went out for business all fell today." Chapter 1013 Death Shadow. Chapter 1013 Death Shadow. What? Jian Wushuang asked, unable to hold back his surprise. As an advanced population, the Rock Demon Clan included not a few experts. Generally, the elders of the clan were Dao Master experts. 4 elders had fallen. It meant that 4 Dao Masters had fallen. There were just 10 Dao Masters in the whole Rock Demon Clan. Even more, Brother Hong was beaten up by them. Qingbin said urgently, "I don't know how the Black Python Clan called in an expert." He suddenly showed up and severely injured Brother Hong during the head-on fight between Brother Hong and the leader of the Black Python Clan. If it were not for Brother Hong's incredible skill in defense, he would probably have got killed. Even God Hong got severely injured? Jian Wushuang said, squinting slightly. Including God Hong, there were just 10 Dao Masters in total in the Rock Demon Clan. Now 4 of them had fallen at a time and even God Hong got severely injured, making the battle strength of the high-level leaders of the Rock Demon Clan sank to a low level. Not surprisingly, the experts of the Black Python Clan dared to directly intrude into the city of the Rock Demon Clan. "Master Wushuang, Brother Hong told me to ask you to leave immediately." Qingbin said, "After all, you don't belong here. You are not supposed to engage in the collision between our Rock Demon Clan and the Black Python Clan. So just get out of here." "No need to leave immediately." Jian Wushuang shook his head while gazing at the 8 Dao Masters of the Black Python Clan in the distance. He could sense the monstrous killing intent from them. He said, "The Black Python Clan have fought with the Rock Demon Clan for so many years. They finally got such a great opportunity, so they won't give you a break." Not surprisingly, the Black Python Clan must have sent out all the experts today. "The Rock Demon Clan is in danger." "Jian Wushuang, what do you intend to do?" He heard Gu Qing's voice. "I'm indebted to God Hong. Besides, during these years, I got a lot of help from the Rock Demon Clan. They did me such a great favor, so I should do something for them in return." Jian Wushuang said with a smile. "You want to help them?" Gu Qing said apathetically. "You tell me." Jian Wushuang said with a faint smile, while Blood Mountain Sword appeared in his hand. "Master Wushuang, what are you doing?" Qingbin stared at Jian Wushuang with amazement and said, "Qingbin, just stand here and watch." Jian Wushuang said with a faint smile, then flying forward. Jian Wushuang flew across the void with ease like a ghost and soon got to the battlefield ahead. At this moment, the two populations were in an intense battle. Led by the 8 Dao Masters, numerous experts of the Black Python Clan had directly intruded into the city of the Rock Demon Clan. Numerous clansmen of the Rock Demon Clan struggled to fight back. However, The battle strength of the high-level leaders of the Rock Demon clan was considerably inferior to that of the Black Python clan. Although the Left Dao Masters of the Rock Demon clan joined the fight, they were soon beaten back by the 8 Dao Masters of the Black Python clan. No one could stop the 8 Dao Masters of the Black Python clan. Kill them all. Our Black Python clan is the unchallenged leader of this territory from today. The Rock Demon clan, after all these years of fight, today is the extermination day of your clan. Angry roars and loud laughs reverberated between heaven and earth. Led by the 8 Dao Masters, the experts of the Black Python clan killed wantonly in the territory of the Rock Demon clan. Meanwhile, the Rock Demon clan was barely capable of fighting back. At this moment, Jian Wushuang showed up in the midmost battlefield like a ghost as well as in front of the 8 Dao Masters of the Black Python clan. All the 8 Dao Masters saw, but they didn't pay much attention. Where does the brat come from? Get the hell out of here. A bald man waved his robe, and instantly there came a blast of power which formed a sharp sword shadow. It came towards Jian Wushuang's head. Jian Wushuang stood there indifferently with the corners of his mouth lifted to a special arc and his eyes fixed on Blood Mountain sword in his hand. I've just created this swordsmanship and never displayed it in the presence of anyone. Today I should try its power on you 8 Dao Masters, Jian Wushuang murmured. Without any big movement, he just waved his sword casually. It was just a casual swipe which looked like a child's swipe. However, just as he waved Blood Mountain sword, a burst of horrified sword essence exploded at the moment. A sharp sword shadow was unleashed directly. Fast, it was so fast. It was definitely several times faster than any swordsmanships that Jian Wushuang had displayed before. At first, the 8 Dao Masters in front of Jian Wushuang didn't take Jian Wushuang seriously because he was just at Eternal Realm level. But when they saw this sharp sword shadow unleashed, they showed a trace of astonishment in their eyes. While they saw the sword shadow, a strange power directly overwhelmed them. At this moment, as their consciousness fell into a temporary pause, they were dumbfounded like a fool. Swish! After a low hum, peace was restored and the sharp sword shadow had vanished. Jian Wushuang stood in the void, slowly returning Blood Mountain sword to the sheath. Watching the 8 Dao Masters standing there still, he said with a faint smile, I should thank Master Ku for inspiring me so that I could create this swordsmanship. Master Ku was one of the 18 masters of the Void Temple. Jian Wushuang used to have a fight with Master Ku outside of the imperial city of Tang of the East. Jian Wushuang still vividly remembered Master Ku's most powerful move. The move was stunning and incredibly fast. The most important thing was that the move contained consciousness attack as well. The saber technique and consciousness attack combined perfectly. The move shocked Jian Wushuang so much that it constantly crossed his mind when he tried to create a matching swordsmanship for Aurora Sword Principle during the past years. Thus, he intended to combine consciousness attack with his swordsmanship perfectly. After all, he was rather adept in consciousness attack. Through several years of study, he finally created this swordsmanship that had the speed of the Aurora Sword Principle and the consciousness attack. This move was incredibly fast. Meanwhile, the consciousness attack included in the swordsmanship was perfectly displayed after being greatly improved by the swordsmanship. It was even much more powerful than mind-controlling secret skill displayed by Jian Wushuang with all his strength. What was more, mind-controlling secret skill needed to be displayed by Jian Wushuang in a painstaking and complicated way. The sweeping consciousness attack could be easily noticed. Nevertheless, the consciousness attack included in the swordsmanship really came quietly without a sign, which created this extremely weird but incredibly fast move. This move is named Death Shadow. Jian Wushuang murmured. As he finished his words, the 8 Dao Masters who hovered in the void ahead of him fell feebly one after another. 8 figures fell at the same time. This scene made the whole battlefield fall silent. Chapter 10:14 A Move? Chapter 10:14 A Move. In a hall in the deepest part of the territory of the Rock Demon clan. Third Elder, how is the preparation going? God Hong asked, sitting on a throne. He looked very pale and his eyes were bloodshot. The elder experts of the Rock Demon clan were gathering at the bottom of the hall. 100 talented young clansmen have assembled. They can set off at any moment. The third elder of the Rock Demon clan, the only Dao Master expert in the hall besides God Hong, said with a trace of misery. The Rock Demon clan ran into an unprecedented crisis. Except for God Hong and him, the other Dao Masters were struggling to resist the attack of the Black Python clan. Meanwhile, they gathered in the hall, trying to leave a batch of descendants for the Rock Demon clan. God Hong, our Rock Demon clan was really in such a plight? An old lady with a dragon staff in hand asked in a deep voice. With a shudder of his huge body, God Hong said seriously, "We are trapped by the Black Python clan and suffered a great loss of the high-level battle strength. Even I'm seriously injured. There is less than 30% of our battle strength left. What's worse, the Black Python clan has called in a Dao Master expert at the peak level of rank 3 to help them. Although the overall strength of our clan is almost equal to that of the Black Python clan, we are unable to resist them with the huge gap between the battle strength of our high-level leaders and that of theirs. It's impossible that the Black Python clan will spare our clan. We are almost doomed." God Hong gripped his hands tightly and said while trembling physically and mentally. Doomed. It was such a simple word, but enough to drive the Rock Demon clan mad. God Hong raised his head again, and his eyes reddened. He said, "Our Rock Demon clan can be destructed and completely vanish in Samsara continent. Nevertheless, the bloodline of our Rock Demon clan that has been passed on for long years can't be cut off today. Third elder, later other elders, and I will think of a way to distract those experts of the Black Python clan. Then you should seek an opportunity to lead the 100 talented young clansmen to leave this territory. From now on, all of you should conceal your identities and never reveal you're from the Rock Demon clan to anyone. Besides, later other elders and I will fight to the death, but numerous clansmen don't need to do so. Tell them to get away as much as possible. The more of them get away, the more descendants of our Rock Demon clan can survive. Got it?" God Hong's voice reverberated around the entire hall. In the hall, all experts of the Rock Demon clan took death calmly with a resolute expression. Quite a few of them even looked insane. It was the genocide battle of the Rock Demon clan. They were high-level experts of the Rock Demon clan. Besides, third elder got his necessary task. The rest of them would definitely fight to the death and stay with their population. However, just at this moment, Big Brother Hong, Big Brother Hong. With an anxious voice, someone rushed into the hall in haste. It was Qing Bin. "What's the matter? They failed to block the enemies?" God Hong asked, suddenly gripping his hands. "No, it's not about it. It's Wushuang, Master Wushuang. Qing Bin apparently came here in great haste, so he failed to say it clearly due to shortness of breath." "Jian Wushuang? Didn't I tell you to lead him away at once?" God Hong said in a deep voice. "No, Master Wushuang didn't leave. Instead, he joined the fight and directly killed the 8 Dao Masters of the Black Python clan." Qing Bin finally calmed down and said, "What?" All the people in the hall, including God Hong, were dumbfounded. They couldn't believe their ears at first. Jian Wushuang killed the 8 Dao Masters of the Black Python clan. "Qing Bin, what did you just say?" God Hong repeated anxiously. Master Wushuang joined the fight and directly killed the 8 Dao Masters who intruded the residence of our Rock Demon clan. What's more, Master Wushuang did it with just a move. Qing Bin said seriously. This time everyone heard him clearly. But after hearing it clearly, they were panic-stricken and sick at heart. Jian Wushuang was the young man who had been a guest in the city of the Rock Demon clan and meditated upon the 9 sword scars left by Sunrise Sword Emperor in the rift during the past years. Did he kill the 8 Dao Masters of the Black Python clan? What was more, he did it with just a move. Are you kidding me? Third Elder was the first to exclaim. We shouldn't blame him. After all, it was unusual in every respect. They were Dao Master experts, not just some cabbages on the street. They couldn't be killed so easily. After all, As a top expert, each Dao Master had his own trump card. They couldn't be killed easily. Even if all of the 8 Dao Master of the Black Python clan were the most common rank 1 Dao Masters, it still needed extraordinary skill and strength to kill them with just a move. At least, no one from their Rock Demon clan possessed this strength. Furthermore, the Dao Masters of the Black Python clan were generally at a high level. Among the 8 Dao Masters who had been killed, there were 5 rank 2 Dao Masters and only 3 rank 1 Dao Masters. It would be even harder to kill 8 Dao Masters like them at the same time with just a move. But now Qingbin told them that Jian Wushuang, who was just at Eternal Realm level, killed the 8 Dao Masters with just a move. Could it be possible? Qingbin, are you sure that he killed them with just one strike? God Hong asked in astonishment. I'm positive. Many of our clansmen witnessed that. The bodies of the 8 Dao Masters of the Black Python clan still lie under Master Wushuang's feet. Brother Hong, we can go there and have a look if you'd like to. Qingbin quickly replied. Let's go there and have a look. Without thinking about something else, God Hong instantly rushed out of the hall and directly headed for the battlefield at the forefront. The high-level experts of the Rock Demon clan naturally followed him. Soon, they showed up around the battlefield and saw what was happening in front of them. In the vast void, more than 1 million clansmen of the Rock Demon clan and the Black Python clan gathered there. With so many people around, it should be extremely noisy. However, at this moment, they were horribly quiet in this void. There was total silence without any noise. It was like the entire space and time were frozen. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the scarlet-robed man with a long sword on his back in the very center of the void. The scarlet-robed man had a faint smile on his face. Under his feet, there were 8 bodies. Although they were dead, they still wore terrified expressions and auras of Dao Masters. There was an extremely clear sword scar respectively at every corpse's neck. Both the shape and the cut of the sword scar looked exactly the same. Obviously, someone killed the 8 people at the same time with just a move. Just a move. Chapter 10:15, You Again. Chapter 10:15, You Again. So it's true. God Hong said in astonishment. Those experts who followed him here also looked stunned. When first hearing the news from Qingbin, they seriously doubted it. But now they had to believe what they saw. Indeed, Jian Wushuang killed the 8 Dao Masters of the Black Python clan with just a move. How did he do that? God Hong couldn't help thinking. Meanwhile, Jian Wushuang, who had been the focus between heaven and earth, suddenly raised his head. In the distance, he saw several figures fly towards him and appeared in front of him instantly. Certainly, they were the clan leader and the remaining Dao Masters of the Black Python clan. The overall strength of the Black Python clan was much better than that of the Rock Demon clan. Certainly, the Black Python clan included more Dao Masters. Except the 8 killed by Jian Wushuang, there were still 6 left. Damn it. The leader of the Black Python clan was the insidious man with a small black snake on his shoulder. Watching the 8 bodies on the ground, he looked extremely sullen, shaking violently. There were 8 Dao Masters. Their Black Python clan had only 14 Dao Masters in total. Now more than half of them had been killed by Jian Wushuang. Naturally, the insidious man felt so distressed. Nevertheless, regardless of his distress, he witnessed Jian Wushuang's great strength. He had watched the fight in the void not far away. His original plan was that the 8 Dao Masters led numerous experts of the Black Python clan to fight their way to the city of the Rock Demon clan. Then he and other Dao Masters awaited the badly hurt God Hong. Finally, they would immediately kill him the moment he showed up. However, no one had expected that a sword principal expert just at Eternal Realm level showed up and killed all the 8 Dao Masters before God Hong showed up. Jian Wushuang's move also shocked him tremendously. It was so fast. It was so fast that there was not enough time for him to rescue them. Where does the brat come from? When did the Rock Demon clan have such an incredible expert at Eternal Realm level? The insidious man fixed his eyes on Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang glanced up at him as well, but soon his eyes rested on a black-robed elder. Well, I didn't expect that I would meet an acquaintance. We are really enemies on a narrow road. Jian Wushuang said in a cold voice. Kid, you again? The black-robed elder also raised his head. He glanced at Jian Wushuang in astonishment. Jian Wushuang immediately recognized the black-robed elder was the expert from the sky-devouring clan. The elder and Jin Yu joined force to ambush Dragon Wing Governor and him. Likewise, the black-robed elder Dian also recognized Jian Wushuang. So you are the expert who helps the Black Python clan? Jian Wushuang asked with a faint smile. That's right. Di Yen nodded and said in a cold voice, Brat, you stopped me from killing Dragon Wing Governor before. Today I'm going to help the Black Python clan exterminate the Rock Demon clan, and you are going to spoil my plan again? You seem to have a problem with me, right? I was indebted to the Rock Demon clan. If you are going to kill them, I have no choice but to fight with you. Jian Wushuang said coolly. Di Yan's face suddenly darkened. Master Di Yan, that's enough. Just kill him. The insidious man beside him urged in a cold voice. Shut up. Glancing at the insidious man, Di Yan snapped in a deep voice. You think it's so easy to kill this brat? Di Yan had gone through Jian Wushuang's horrible defensive ability. These days, he could still feel a dull pain inside his broken teeth. To kill Jian Wushuang? It was impossible for him. If he's helping the Rock Demon clan, it'll be quite difficult for you to exterminate them, Di Yan said in a deep voice. How come? No matter how powerful the brat is, he's just at Eternal Realm level. Can't you kill him with all your full strength? The insidious man refused to yield. He ground his teeth with rage, while his eyes turned red. Master Di Yan, if you can kill him with all your strength, I can pay you 30% more of the reward I've promised. The insidious man encouraged coldly. Oh, Di Yan said, raising his eyebrows. He was not familiar with the Black Python clan. The reason why he decided to help the Black Python clan was that the insidious man promised him a lovely reward. Now he could get paid 30% more. It was rather tempting for Di Yan. I can promise you to kill him with all my strength, but I can't make any guarantee, Di Yan said. As long as you help us, I'll pay you 30% more regardless of the result. The insidious man said, clenching his hands, I don't believe that our preparations during the past years will be ruined by a nobody who is just at Eternal Realm level. Well, I will do my best, Di Yan said and moved at the next moment. But on his way toward Jian Wushuang, Di Yan sneered secretly, he's so dumb as to trust me. He knows nothing about the brat's horrifying defensive ability. I can't kill him even with my full strength. But since he's willing to pay 30% more, I'll put on a good show for him. Di Yan didn't think about killing Jian Wushuang at all. He just wanted to pretend to go all out and then be defeated by Jian Wushuang. In the end, he could get the extra 30% reward. Watching Di Yan coming towards him, Jian Wushuang had a weird smile on his face. Jian Wushuang thought, at that time, outside of Jin Yu's castle, I was still at a disadvantage when I engaged the old fellow. I could only make him leave using my defensive ability. Back then I didn't create any sword principle nor incredible swordsmanship, but now I've created 2 sword principles and been able to unleash their power at the same time. Besides, I've created 2 matching unique swordsmanships to greatly promote their battle strength. I'm wondering what will happen if I fight with the old fellow again today. Jian Wushuang wore a cold look and was eager to fight. Kill! With tremendous battle intent, Jian Wushuang shouted in a deep voice. As he moved, he had a face-to-face collision with Di Yan who came towards him. A burst of overwhelming sword essence immediately exploded at the moment they collided. Jian Wushuang held Blood Mountain Sword tightly with one hand, while Blood Mountain Sword was trembling and emitting bursts of overwhelming power. As fierce lights flashed in his eyes, he shot Blood Mountain Sword directly toward Di Yan. This move was extremely cold and emotionless. This move was created by Jian Wushuang based on his first sword principle, the Coalescence Sword Principle. This move was named Ruthlessness. Chapter 10:16, Fight with Di Yan again. Chapter 10:16, Fight with Di Yan again. Buzz. Emotionlessly, the cold and ruthless sword lights directly appeared in front of Di Yan and flustered the latter. It was only one swordsmanship, but in Di Yan's eyes, it was such a strange swordsmanship that seemed to contain several different essence. Humph. Di Yan snorted and suddenly clapped his wrinkled hands. The power came overwhelmingly like a piece of dark cloud. Whoosh! The strong sword lights swept and completely tore apart the dark cloud. The remaining sword lights still came at Di Yan. What? Di Yan was startled. He immediately waved his sleeves to disperse these sword lights. Buzz! A sword shadow had quietly appeared beside Di Yan. So fast! Di Yan couldn't help narrowing his eyes. A powerful consciousness attack directly came to him at the moment he saw the sword shadow. It was the perfect combination of swordsmanship and consciousness attack. It was a move named Death Shadow. The sudden consciousness attack directly swept over Di Yan without any sign. Although Di Yan was a peak rank 3 Dao master, at this moment he still felt a sharp pain in his consciousness and couldn't help trembling. Nevertheless, he managed to take the consciousness attack. In face of the consciousness attack, he instantly slapped on Jian Wushuang's long sword lightning fast and fended off Jian Wushuang's sword shadow. At the same time, he also retreated. Humph! Jian Wushuang snorted. The power of Blood Mountain Sword in his hand increased greatly. And at the next moment, his swordsmanship was in full swing. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. The sword shadows chopped, swept or stabbed. Each of them was lightning fast. They were so fast. Apparently, Jian Wushuang had used his Aurora Sword principle to the utmost. Every sword shadow came out lightning fast one after another. The swordsmanship, Di Yan said in great astonishment. It should be noted that he had a fight with Jian Wushuang more than 20 years ago. Although Jian Wushuang showed great strength at that time, Jian Wushuang was much weaker than him. In terms of swordsmanship, he did not remember Jian Wushuang displayed any remarkable swordsmanship. But now, Jian Wushuang's swordsmanship was much better than before. Although his swordsmanship was almost ordinary and not very powerful, he was so fast and vigorous. Jian Wushuang's power amplifications of 3-star Ancient God power and Star River Secret skill were 90 times, and the power of blood-killing armor had increased by 10 times in Stage 1. Thus, his power had soared. At that time, Jian Wushuang could display the battle strength close to peak rank 3 level without help from any sword principle. Now he had created 2 sword principles. With the help of the 2 sword principles, he had reached the peak of rank 3, which made him even a bit more powerful than Di Yan. With a fast speed, great strength, and incredible swordsmanship, Jian Wushuang completely overwhelmed Di Yan at the moment. Di Yan totally failed to fight back. How is it possible? How is it possible? Di Yan roared wildly in his heart. It has been less than 30 years since then. How is it possible that he has promoted his strength so much? It's impossible. Di Yan was drastically astonished. Di Yan did not know that Jian Wushuang had just spent 2,000 years on cultivation since he was born. What was more, he had spent over 1,200 years rebuilding his body. As an inverse cultivator, he possessed the flawless foundation and the strongest sword heart beyond Di Yan's imagination. Besides, he had the help from plenty of treasures and opportunities. 30 years was long enough for Jian Wushuang to promote his strength greatly. Di Yan was overwhelmed. Meanwhile, the battle intent in Jian Wushuang's eyes grew more and more intense, and his swordsmanship was increasingly faster. Retreat, retreat right away. Di Yan calmed down. He watched Jian Wushuang in panic and then retreated immediately when he spotted an opportunity. He fell to the bat category of the Sky-Devouring clan and was talented at speed. Not even Jian Wushuang could capture him if he managed to run. Thus, the fierce battle between them stopped. Up in the void, Jian Wushuang still stood there with tremendous battle intent. He stared at Di Yan coldly and said, "What a pity. I can barely suppress him in our fight. However, it's not very practical for me to kill him." Jian Wushuang was also reluctant. After all, Dian was a real peak rank 3 Dao master gifted at speed. It was indeed pretty difficult to kill him. Jian Wushuang felt reluctant. People watching their fight were dumbstruck. Jian Wushuang, he defeated a peak rank 3 Dao master? God Hong and numerous experts of the Rock Demon clan looked extremely shocked. God Hong was especially awestruck. He used to fight with Dian. Even with his extremely strong body, he got seriously injured by Dian in less than 2 rounds and withdrew in panic. Dian's great strength made him a top dog in the entire Samsara continent. But now Dian was defeated by Jian Wushuang. Defeated by a young man who was an eternal realm expert from the ancient world and was favored by him 2,000 years ago. How did that happen? The insidious man, leader of the Black Python clan, watched all this in surprise and asked. In the meantime, Dian appeared beside him, looking rather miserable. Did you see that? Dian said with a trace of anger on his face, while his eyes were also filled with rage. I've gone all out, but... Mo Lin, let's retreat. With the brat helping the Rock Demon clan, your Black Python clan is unable to exterminate them. Dian said in a deep voice. Mo Lin was the name of the insidious man, leader of the Black Python clan. The insidious man Mo Lin's face was sullen. He looked over at Jian Wushuang and fixed his eyes on him with endless hatred and reluctance. Reluctant, he was very reluctant indeed. This time their Black Python clan prepared everything well and even called in Dian for help at a high cost. They ambushed 4 Dao masters of the Rock Demon clan, seriously injured God Hong, and even had intruded the residence of the Rock Demon clan. Everything went as planned. However, no one had expected that at the brink of exterminating the Rock Demon clan, there came such an incredible Eternal Realm expert from the Rock Demon clan. The Eternal Realm expert killed 8 Dao masters under his command and even defeated Dian. With this Eternal Realm expert helping the Rock Demon clan, Mo Lin clearly knew that it was impossible for their Black Python clan to exterminate the Rock Demon clan today. If they continued their desperate attempts, their Black Python clan might be the one that was exterminated. Let's retreat, Mo Lin said, while his heart was bleeding. Chapter 1017 Retreat. Chapter 1017 Retreat. Numerous experts of the Black Python clan retreated. They retreated reluctantly with the bodies of the 8 Dao masters. At the sight of this, the Rock Demon clan cheered for the victory in great excitement. Jian Wushuang. God Hong led numerous experts of the Rock Demon clan coming up to Jian Wushuang with tremendous gratitude and respect in their eyes. In this world, people always respected the strong. For people of the Rock Demon clan, obviously, Jian Wushuang was such a strong expert. Thanks a lot, God Hong said in a solemn voice. He was quite clear that if it were not for Jian Wushuang's help, his clan would probably have been exterminated today. Back then in the ancient world, I was indebted to you. Besides, you've taken good care of me during these years. Certainly, I should pay you back for your favor. Jian Wushuang said with a smile, but it's a pity that I couldn't kill the clan leader of the Black Python clan for avoiding later trouble, because he kept hiding behind, in a distance from me. Now the Black Python clan has retreated, but I'm afraid that they won't let go easily. This time, the Rock Demon clan suffered a great loss, but obviously, the Black Python clan suffered more. 8 Dao masters had been killed by Jian Wushuang, which was enough to distress the Black Python clan greatly. The Black Python clan would definitely take frenzied revenge if they were capable of doing so. God Hong and numerous experts of the Rock Demon clan all looked solemn. They also knew that the crisis had just been resolved temporarily today. Elder God Hong, the 9 sword scars left by Sunrise Sword Emperor is of great use to me. Can I stay in the rift for another period? Jian Wushuang asked. Certainly. God Hong nodded repeatedly and said, you can stay in the rift no matter how long you want. I've told them not to disturb you. By the way, since you are more powerful than me, it's unnecessary for you to keep calling me Elder. You can directly call me by my name or call me Big Brother Hong like Qin Bin. Then thank you for your treat, Big Brother Hong, Jian Wushuang said with a faint smile. Then he floated out of there and directly headed for the rift where the 9 sword scars were located without talking to those experts of the Rock Demon clan. On his way, Jian Wushuang heard Gu King say, "Jian Wushuang, you've created the Aurora Sword Principle and the Death Shadow. The 9 sword scars should be of little use to you now, but you said that you still needed to stay in the rift for meditation for some time. You do it for the Rock Demon clan, right?" "Gu King, you know me better and better after parasitizing in my body for so long," Jian Wushuang said with a smile. "I should help them through. The Rock Demon clan has just suffered from a great loss, and the Black Python clan won't let go easily. If I leave at this moment, I'm afraid that the Rock Demon clan will still be exterminated. In that case, I might as well stay in the residence of the Rock Demon clan for another period. It won't be too late to leave after the Rock Demon clan completely recovered. What's more, although the 9 sword scars are less useful to me than before, they are still of some use." Gu King groaned slightly without saying anything else. Jian Wushuang returned to the rift again and continued his meditation upon sword principle. Numerous clansmen of the Rock Demon clan were uncommonly grateful and respectful to Jian Wushuang. If there were still very few sword principle warriors who had complained that Jian Wushuang kept occupying the rift, now these clansmen expected him to stay there all the time. It brought their clan much more confidence and benefits to have such an incredible expert in their residence. In a grand hall on the territory of the Black Python clan. "Asshole! Damned bastard! We were so close to exterminating the Rock Demon clan. Just at this moment, a sword principle expert showed up. Where does the brat come from?" Mo Lin, the clan leader, started to roar insanely from the moment he stepped into the hall. On hearing these roars, the experts of the Black Python clan who stepped into the hall at the same time fell into silence, their expressions extremely unpleasant. This time their clan had indeed suffered a double loss. They didn't exterminate the Rock Demon clan. Instead, 8 of their Dao masters had been killed. "Master Dian, I heard the conversation between you and the brat. You've known him long before?" Mo Lin asked, looking toward Dian. Dian slowly sat down on a throne and began to talk after the hall became silent. "I met the brat before indeed. His name is Jian Wushuang. Although he's just an Eternal Realm expert, his battle strength is comparable to that of a rank 3 Dao master due to his bloodline or something else. Over 20 years ago, I used to fight with him. Back then, he could barely survive in the fight." Dian described the fight with Jian Wushuang like this. But actually, Jian Wushuang survived in the fight with great ease. He just could do nothing to Jian Wushuang at that time. Over 20 years ago, his strength was close to rank 3 peak at most, but today. Speaking of this, Dian's face suddenly darkened. He said, "Today he showed the strength which is definitely at the peak level of rank 3. Even I was at a disadvantage in the fight with him. He has made an unimaginably rapid progress indeed." "Bastard," Mo Lin said, clenching his teeth. "Our Black Python clan has prepared for so many years and paid such a high price for it. We must not waste all our previous efforts because of him. We must think of a way to kill him or drive him away. Master Dian, do you have any idea?" Dian narrowed his eye and said, "Jian Wushuang has tremendous strength as well as incredible defensive capability. It's impossible for me to kill him by myself, but..." On hearing the word, "but," Mo Lin immediately raised his eyebrows and said, "Master Dian, tell me whatever idea you got. As long as we can kill the brat and exterminate the Rock Demon clan, we can negotiate no matter what price we need to pay." Dian forced a smile and said, "It's not that we can do nothing about it if we really want to kill him. As far as I know, Jian Wushuang killed a gold-clothed deacon of the Samsara Temple before." "A gold-clothed deacon?" Mo Lin was stunned. Gold-clothed deacons can be considered as higher-ups of the Samsara Temple. There are just a few of them. If any of them dies, it will be a great loss for the Samsara Temple. Since Jian Wushuang killed a gold-clothed deacon, the Samsara Temple won't pretend that nothing has happened no matter why he did that," Dian said with a faint smile. Chapter 10:18 Someone from Samsara Temple. Chapter 10:18. Someone from Samsara Temple. Do you mean that we'll pass on the dirty work to Samsara Temple? Mo Lin looked over at Dian. Exactly. Dian smirked. As far as I know, Samsara Temple has learnt that Jian Wushuang killed one of their gold-clothed deacon. They must be searching for him all these years. Once we inform them of Jian Wushuang's whereabouts, they will certainly send their experts over. Is that so? Mo Lin replied. I happen to be acquainted with another gold-clothed deacon. I'll send a message for him right now so that he can report on Jian Wushuang. Good. Di Yen nodded. In your message, describe Jian Wushuang's strength and defensive power in detail so that they can send a well-matched opponent. Right. Mo Lin sent the message at once. It didn't take long for a reply. The gold-clothed deacon I contacted has filed a report. We'll receive news soon. Mo Lin rejoiced. Then we'll just wait patiently. In the meanwhile, we'd better watch over Rock Demon Clan and what they are up to, Di Yen added. All right. Mo Lin nodded and gave instructions for the arrangement. Peace was soon restored to the city of Black Python Clan. But it was short-lived and lasted only for one day. Good news. The gold-clothed deacon told me that Samsara Temple has dispatched their expert. Mo Lin cried out with excitement. Samsara Temple is rather efficient. We've just reported it and their experts set off in less than a day. Di Yen was elated. By the way, who did they send? A Dao master called Dreamless. I heard he's a rank 8 reincarnator. Mo Lin replied. Dao master Dreamless? Di Yen squinted as he searched through his memory. His eyes lit up as he recalled the Dao master. I remember him, he cried. Lord Di Yen, do you know him? Planet. Rank 8 reincarnators were rare in the entire Samsara continent. Although he was a leader of a strong population, Mo Lin was still not in a position to meet the reincarnators. I've only heard of him. He's indeed a rank 8 reincarnator, as well as a heaven-level law executor. He's one of the well-known top experts in Samsara continent. Di Yen said with a serious look. Although he's only at rank 3 peak, he's the best among his peers. Most importantly, he excels at attacking. His offensive power would easily make him the third most powerful celestial master in Green Fire World. He's that good? Mo Lin asked, eyes wide. He could hold the third place among Green Fire World's celestial masters? When it comes to offensive power, there were many experts, such as Emperor Shao and Emperor Yun, who were almost at the level of a celestial master. These experts were much stronger than normal Dao masters at rank 3 peak. But even Emperor Shao dared not to claim the third place with his offensive power. Which meant that Dao Master Dreamless was better skilled at offensive power than Emperor Shao and Emperor Yun. Jian Wushuang is known for his defensive skill. Mediocre Dao Masters of rank 3 peak don't stand a chance in front of him. But Dao Master Dreamless might succeed. I can't ask for anything better. Once Jian Wushuang is killed, Rock Demon Clan will vanish too. Mo Lin cried out with excitement. Let's wait for Dao Master Dreamless, he should be arriving in a few days' time. Di Yen chuckled. Like Void Temple, Samsara Temple had set up numerous wormholes on Samsara continent. However, their wormholes were not accessible by just anyone, no matter the price offered to grant access. Which is why while normal people walked on foot, Samsara Temple experts are able to make use of the wormholes for a faster journey. 3 days later, in the void above the city of Black Python Clan, Mo Lin, Di Yen and other experts from Black Python Clan all waited in silence. Before long, a bright golden light appeared, making its way towards the crowd. It came to a stop before the crowd, and a figure dressed in a golden robe came into view. A dignified, handsome young man appeared with his magic weapons, which were 2 long spears, behind his back. Mo Lin, Di Yen and the others greeted the golden-robed man at once. Leader of Black Python Clan, at your service. Mo Lin bowed respectfully. Black Python Clan. Barely paying any attention to Mo Lin, the Dao Master looked over to Di Yen instead. He noticed that among these experts, only Di Yen was at rank 3 peak. Who is this? Dao Master Dreamless asked. I'm Di Yen at your service. Di Yen replied modestly. Di Yen? The Tao Master narrowed his eyes. Sky-devouring bat Di Yen. Tao Master Dreamless has actually heard of me. What an honor. Di Yen smiled faintly. Well, there are only 2 sky-devouring members on Samsara continent. One of them is you and the other is your father Empyrean Patriarch. Tao Master Dreamless continued, your father Empyrean Patriarch is rather brutal. Many great populations and clans, including Samsara Temple, are all afraid of him. As his only son, you'll naturally be noticed by the Samsara Temple. But why are you involved in this matter? I wouldn't dare to interfere with Samsara Temple's affairs. But this time is a coincidence. Mo Lin has asked me to deal with Rock Demon Clan, but alas, Jian Wushuang came along. To be honest, he's rather capable. Although I'm at rank 3 peak, I am no match for him. Di Yen looked ashamed. Even you can't defeat him? The Tao Master could not help but gave a look of astonishment. He had no idea just how strong Di Yen really was. But he was aware of how destructive his father Empyrean Patriarch was. Di Yen, a descendant of Sky-devouring clan and an expert of rank 3 peak, surely would not be lacking in power. But Di Yen could not defeat Jian Wushuang, which adequately shows how capable the latter was. I heard that he's only at Eternal Realm level. I'd like to meet a man at Eternal Realm level with such battle strength. Tao Master Dreamless eyes flashed with anticipation. Chapter 1019, Dragon Trapping Array. Chapter 1019, Dragon Trapping Array. Well, let's set off now. Di Yen suggested. Sure. Tao Master Dreamless nodded. But I must clarify this, I will only deal with Jian Wushuang. I won't intervene in the war between Black Python Clan and Rock Demon Clan. Of course. Both Di Yen and Mo Lin gave an easy smile. Jian Wushuang was the reason why Black Python Clan could not defeat Rock Demon Clan. If Tao Master Dreamless managed to get rid of Jian Wushuang, whom Rock Demon Clan had been dependent on, Rock Demon Clan will inherently be at Black Python Clan's mercy. Moments later, Tao Master Dreamless appeared from a void before Rock Demon Clan's residences. Di Yen, Mo Lin, and other experts followed behind the master. Jian Wushuang. Tao Master Dreamless' powerful voice could be heard by the entire Rock Demon Clan. The intensity of the voice shocked even Rock Demon Clan. In the valley, Jian Wushuang was practicing his swordsmanship in solitary. I'm almost there. What's the last component? Brows knitted, he racked his brains for an answer. He had assimilated the coalescence sword principle and the aurora sword formation. The third sword principle was nearly integrated as well. But Jian Wushuang could not overcome the final step to achieve full assimilation. Suddenly, Jian Wushuang. The powerful voice which had rang throughout the entire Rock Demon Clan reached the little valley where Jian Wushuang was. Jian Wushuang looked up in the direction of the sound. Brother Wushuang. Along with Rock Demon Clan's experts, God Hong hurried into the valley. Brother Hong, what's the matter? Jian Wushuang asked. It's the Black Python Clan, they're here again. They brought someone to help them this time. God Hong looked worried. Oh. Jian Wushuang nodded. He wasn't surprised, he had fully expected that Black Python Clan would not let the matter rest. Who did they bring along? Jian Wushuang asked. I don't know. God Hong shook his head. All I know is that he is good at spears and has a strong aura that is stronger than most experts at the peak of rank 3. But he is not a celestial master. Not a celestial master? Jian Wushuang smirked. Jian Wushuang is well aware of his defense skills. To pose as a threat to him, one must be a celestial master. Since the person who Black Python Clan had brought along was not a celestial master, he had nothing to worry about. Gu King, is there anything that can hinder one's movement among the treasures that Dao Yuanzi had left behind? Jian Wushuang doubted. There is. What are you going to do with it? Asked Gu King. The 9 sword scars are losing their power, and I don't intend to stay here anymore. If I can, I'd like to get rid of the Black Python Clan once and for all. Jian Wushuang replied. Dao Yuanzi left a large collection of treasures. There are ones which prevents one from running away. Though the only one you'll find helpful will be the dragon trapping array. Gu King added. Dragon trapping array? Jian Wushuang asked. The dragon trapping array is an ordinary spell formation in Eternal Chaotic World, but it's an impressive one in Green Fire World. The spell formation will cast a temporary defensive cover once it's set up. Save for the spellcaster, anyone trapped within the defensive cover will have their speed of movement reduced. The enemies can't escape within a short period of time. With their speed of movement significantly reduced, you are presented with the opportunity to kill them, Gu King continued. Dao Yuanzi left behind a complete set of dragon trapping array which you may set up secretly. But some chaos gems will be required to cast the spell formation. How many Chao gems are needed? Jian Wushuang asked. It depends on how long you need the formation to last for. On average, to maintain the formation for 15 minutes, you would need 10 chaos gems. Gu King answered. 10 chaos gems for 15 minutes? Jian Wushuang repeated, eyes glowing. For an expert like Jian Wushuang, 15 minutes was sufficient to engage in several rounds of battle. With some extra effort, he will be able to destroy the entire Black Python clan in less than 15 minutes. I'll take the dragon trapping array. Jian Wushuang made the decision and summoned his slaughter body. Take care of them for me. Jian Wushuang ordered, passing an interspatial ring to his slaughter body. Okay. The slaughter body nodded slightly and left with the lightness and fluidity of a ghost. Jian Wushuang, what are you? God Hong and the others couldn't understand what was happening with the appearance of slaughter body. Brother Hong, let's go and meet Black Python clan. Jian Wushuang merely smiled and headed towards the void. In the void before the residences of Rock Demon clan, Dao Master Dreamless headed a group of soldiers while holding long golden spears. The master emitted a strong aura. Swish, 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 swish. In a flash, numerous figures flew before Dao Master Dreamless, floating in the air. Is that the person who Black Python clan is engaging help from? Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes at Dao Master Dreamless. He could feel the pressure that Dao Master Dreamless is giving him. He experienced similar level of pressure when facing Emperor Shao or Emperor Yun. He is likely to be a match for Uncle Shao. Jian Wushuang thought. So, you are Jian Wushuang? Dao Master Dreamless returned the stare. I am. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. I'm Dao Master Dreamless, heaven-level law executor of Samsara Temple. Not long ago, you killed our gold-clothed Deacon Jinyu. Today, I'm here to take your life. The Dao Master declared in a deep tone. The Master's words were a shock to Rock Demon clan's experts. He's from Samsara Temple? Did Master Wushuang kill a gold-clothed deacon of Samsara Temple? Damn, a law executor from Samsara Temple, this means trouble. The faces of God Hong and others turned white in distress. Jian Wushuang simply wore a faint smile and asked the Master, Dao Master Dreamless, may I know how are you going to take my life? I'll kill you right here. The Dao Master retorted coldly and darted towards Jian Wushuang. Shoo! A terrifying noise resonated throughout the void. Dao Master Dreamless shifted from his original position to where Jian Wushuang was in an instant. His long golden spears were aggressively directed at Jian Wushuang. Chapter 1020 Dao Master Dreamless. Chapter 1020 Dao Master Dreamless. Those spears. Jian Wushuang regarded the intimidating gold spears that pierced through the void and left a damaged portal. Though shocked, Jian Wushuang managed to draw his Blood Mountain sword, which was quaking with power. Ruthlessness. With a shout, he struck. A stifling power blanketed the area. The strike was ruthless and direct. Clang! The edge of the sword and the tip of the long gold spear clashed, shattering the void nearby. Jian Wushuang's arms trembled at the force of the blows and he could not help but stagger back. His power is astounding, Jian Wushuang exclaimed to himself. In terms of strength, the Dao Master was far superior to him. Go! With another shout, Tao Master Dreamless lunged out with his gold spear again. Choo, choo, choo. He struck 3 more times, every blow fast and terrifying as a venomous snake. With cold resolve in his eyes, Jian Wushuang brandished his Blood Mountain sword. Since Jian Wushuang had devised the Aurora Sword principle, he was able to keep up with the Tao Master's speed. Clang, clang, clang. Jian Wushuang's arms shivered at the force of each blow. Humph! Jian Wushuang lashed out at the Tao Master's neck with all of his strength. Death Shadow. Clang. Light flashed off his sword as Jian Wushuang launched an immaterial consciousness attack. Tao Master Dreamless went still at the attack but recovered quickly and struck again. He easily warded off the Death Shadow and forced Jian Wushuang to retreat, once again. Suddenly, the Tao Master's fighting seemed to improve. He struck continuously, sometimes stabbing, sometimes slashing, and sometimes even throwing out the length of his spear. Every blow the Tao Master launched was formidable. He was far more capable than an ordinary Tao Master at the peak of rank 3. He's too powerful. Though Jian Wushuang could keep up with his opponent's speed, the latter was much stronger. Every time he blocked a blow, Jian Wushuang's remaining strength dwindled. All the consecutive strikes were beginning to test his endurance. Damn it, I can't do it anymore. Jian Wushuang was pale-faced and trembling, and he could no longer ignore the sharp pain in his arms. All of his strength left him suddenly. Tao Master Dreamless lashed out with his spear. The force of the blow dented the Blood Mountain sword. Vehemence gleamed in the Tao Master's eyes. Ultimate dragon killing. Chew! A blinding golden light emerged. The light shone like a golden sun before it barreled toward Jian Wushuang. Everywhere the light touched, the void shattered. The single strike of the spear seemed to destroy everything. Jian Wushuang squinted at the strike and attempted to block it. His Blood Mountain sword fell to the side and failed to ward off the impact, which hit him square in the chest. Clang! A clash resounded. What? The Tao Master looked up in surprise. A crimson mist from his robe covered Jian Wushuang's entire body. The tip of the spear wounded Jian Wushuang, but failed to fatally pierce him. Shoo! The force of the blow threw Jian Wushuang back. He grunted from the impact and coughed up blood. Jian Wushuang was wounded. Even with the blood-killing plate armory, Jian Wushuang was wounded by the spear. It was the first time that he had been hurt after he became a 3-star ancient god and acquired the blood-killing plate armor. Under normal circumstances, even with a direct hit, Jian Wushuang would remain unscathed. When Di Yen had landed a blow on Jian Wushuang, he was not only unharmed but had somehow caused Di Yen to break a tooth. The fact that the Tao Master was able to wound Jian Wushuang was a testament to his abilities. The observers, however, were amazed that Jian Wushuang was not more seriously injured. He's only slightly injured after taking a hit like that in the chest. My God, how strong is his defensive power? It is really insurmountable. The crowd roared and bellowed. God Hong widened his eyes. I've awakened my rock demon giant bloodline, and I'm a master in defense. But even if I became 10 times stronger, I still couldn't ward off that blow. How is he only slightly injured? The crowd was astounded. Even Tao Master Dreamless himself was surprised. You're not badly injured. Tao Master Dreamless. Di Yen continued with a serious voice. Even though you can't kill him with one strike, he's injured now, and all you have to do is continue to attack. Soon, he'll be defeated. I have to keep attacking? The Tao Master considered the action, but his expression suddenly changed. He noticed Jian Wushuang's expression. During the previous round of battle, Jian Wushuang must have known the outcome. Jian Wushuang was supposed to look shocked or terrified, or at least disheartened at being injured in such a fashion. Instead, Jian Wushuang seemed pleasantly surprised. Yes, he was surprised, perhaps even elated. That blow! Jian Wushuang yelled in his heart as his eyes flashed with excitement. Tao Master Dreamless' strike was powerful and overwhelming, almost no one could have blocked it. Jian Wushuang was inspired by it, Such power. So violent and overpowering. Isn't this just what I need to devise the third sword principle? Chapter 1021, The Scarlet Yang Sword Principle. Chapter 1021, The Scarlet Yang Sword Principle. Jian Wushuang was indeed astonished. He had studied the powerful Yang Sword Principle he acquired from Dao Yuanqi extensively. From Dao Yuanzi's instruction, he had developed the better part of the sword principle and had almost succeeded in completing it. He had been stumped by the last step. However, Dao Master's powerful strike just gave him inspiration. I must provoke him to draw out his attacks. The more techniques I see, the more I'll be able to understand. Jian Wushuang clenched his fists and called out, "Gu King! Leave it to me. His ability is unfounded, but it will take but a second for me to heal you." Gu King said seriously. As a plenilune centipede, Gu King had mastered the skill of healing. It was because of both his own great defensive power and Gu King's healing skills that Jian Wushuang believed that he was invincible. Fight! Jian Wushuang's eyes flashed with renewed spirit, and with a roar he lunged toward the Dao Master. Humph! The Dao Master resolutely stared down his attacker. The second round of the battle was even more ferocious. Dao Master Dreamless was faster and more vicious, and Jian Wushuang strained to parry the brutal blows over and over again. Ultimate Dragon Killing. The Dao Master struck Jian Wushuang once again, and the latter was thrown back. Within moments, however, Jian Wushuang came at him again. Again! Jian Wushuang was provoking the Dao Master, regardless of his own injuries. Die! Ultimate Dragon Killing. Dao Master Dreamless put his full might behind his more powerful maneuver. He hit Jian Wushuang again and again. If his opponent had been anyone else, they would have died on the spot. However, after being injured numerous times, Jian Wushuang continued to spring back, as determined as ever. This might have been reasonable if the Dao Master had only struck once or twice, but his opponent had been hit at least 10 times and was still full of energy. How is this possible? How is he unharmed? Dao Master Dreamless was in shock. The crowd was also dumbfounded. They had all failed to sense Gu King inside Jian Wushuang, healing him immediately each time a blow landed and sustaining his strength and stamina. There's no other way, I have to use my secret weapon. Dao Master Dreamless' eyes were purposeful. He drew out a jade bottle and swallowed a drop of essence blood. Immediately his aura flared up, and his pupils burned a fiery red. With his eyes fixated on Jian Wushuang, he lifted his spear to attack. Golden Dragon Drill. With a loud shout, Dao Master Dreamless twisted his wrist and threw out his spear in a strange maneuver. The nearby void was shattered immediately. Out of nothing emerged a giant black hole, and at its center was a golden vortex. From deep within the vortex, the long spear launched out at Wushuang in the form of a dragon. The earth shook. The crowd stared at the golden dragon in unprecedented astonishment. So yes, Dian was also amazed. The great power of a celestial master. With just one drop of essence blood, Dao Master Dreamless was able to perform his move at the level of a celestial master. The blow sent tremors into the earth. The strike rattled the crowd. Jian Wushuang froze at the sight of the dragon. Teach this maneuver. The attack filled Jian Wushuang's vision. It was a paralyzing and dominating blow. As the spear sped toward him, the secret of the third sword principle dawned on Jian Wushuang. Could this be the answer? He finally deciphered his dilemma. Jian Wushuang was ecstatic. Right as the spear reached his chest, he returned the blow. Jian Wushuang's strike was just as aggressive, and perhaps even more vicious. All of his strength poured into the blow. Bam! The ground quaked at the ear-piercing sound. Shoo! Jian Wushuang was forced backward like a flowing light. When he finally found his footing, Jian Wushuang felt a sweet taste climbed into his mouth and spat out blood. Drained of color, his face still reflected a curious expression. On the other side, standing in the void, Dao Master Dreamless was also pale. It was not easy for him to release his strongest attack. With astonishment in his eyes, he looked to Jian Wushuang. You've broken through?" He spoke slowly. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang smirked and wiped the blood from his mouth, saying, "I couldn't have devised my third sword principle so fast if it wasn't for you. Thank you." Indeed, without the inspiration of Dao Master Dreamless's fierce attack and excellent spear skills, Jian Wushuang would not have succeeded in inventing his own third sword principle so soon. During the fierce battle, he had been enlightened. The secret of the last step dawned on him, and the third sword principle finally revealed itself. Staring at the Blood Mountain sword in his hand, Jian Wushuang murmured, "My third one is Dao Yuanzi's legacy. It's young, fierce, and overwhelming. It's replete with power. It will be the Scarlet Yang sword principle." After the Coalescence sword principle and the Aurora sword principle, Jian Wushuang finally devised his third one, the Scarlet Yang sword principle. Being the strongest sword principle, it achieved the universe level at its creation. Chapter 1022, There is no escape. Chapter 1022, There is no escape. I've used my best hit, but still haven't defeated you. Instead, you had a breakthrough. Now that you are even stronger, I do not have the ability to kill you, said Dao Master Dreamless as he drew back his long spear, resigned. Jian Wushuang gave a wry smile. In creating the third sword principle, which was at the universe level, he had greatly strengthened himself in offensive power. He would be almost unparalleled in skill. Now, Dao Master Dreamless wouldn't even be able to hold him off, let alone kill him. Jian Wushuang. Dao Master Dreamless tossed a token in his direction. Though hesitant, he reached out to catch to the token in his hands. The moment it touched his hand, a voice echoed through his mind. Jian Wushuang, we, the Samsara Temple, know that 20 years ago, Jin Yu attacked you first, and you only killed him in defense. You didn't mean to provoke us. Dao Master Dreamless's mouth did not move as his message was sent through the token. He clearly wanted a private conversation with Jian Wushuang. To be completely transparent, I did not come with the intention of killing you. We only wanted to teach you a lesson since you killed a gold-clothed deacon. We couldn't just let you get away with it. We didn't want to kill you because you have great potential. Perhaps you can join the Green Fire Palace and serve as our soldier. We won't kill a prodigy like you unless absolutely necessary. When I said I wanted to kill you on the spot, I was merely attempting to provoke you into using your full strength. Please forgive me if I've been rude. Dao Master Dreamless sounded sincere. The order he received was simply to teach Jian Wushuang a lesson, not to kill him. The Samsara Temple know about Jian Wushuang's overwhelming defensive power, so if they really wanted to kill him, they would have sent a celestial master instead of the Dao Master. Not even Dao Master Dreamless expected that after using his full strength he would fail to even scratch Jian Wushuang. On the contrary, he had incited Jian Wushuang's discovery of his third sword principle. Now that Jian Wushuang had gained so much power, there was no point in continuing to fight. Thus he had clarified his intentions and apologized to Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang was shocked at the Dao Master's words. He thought that the Samsara Temple wanted to kill him, but it was far from the truth. Did Samsara Temple really only want to teach him a lesson as a punishment? The Green Fire Palace? Jian Wushuang was curious. It was not the first time he had heard of it. During the time that the royal palace of Tang of the East was besieged by 3 larger countries, the Tang Emperor nearly killed the other ruler. However, since the ruler was from the Green Fire Palace, the Tang Emperor had to spare him. For the second time, Jian Wushuang failed to discover what the Green Fire Palace was. Restraining his curiosity, Jian Wushuang refrained from asking about the palace. Dao Master, since you don't intend to kill me, then the Black Python clan. Jian Wushuang sent back a message through the token. We do not interfere with the business of the Black Python clan, so you may do as you please, Dao Master Dreamless said. Thank you for your permission. Jian Wushuang let out a smile as sharp as the edge of his blade. The crowd could not hear a single word of their conversation through the token. However, the battle they had witnessed was still at the forefront of their thoughts. How is this possible? Dao Master Dreamless performed a strike at Celestial Master level. How did he fail to kill Jian Wushuang? And how did Jian Wushuang discover his sword principle instead? What happened? Di Yen, Mo Lin, and many other experts from the Black Python clan were all baffled. Di Yen was trembling. Before this battle, Jian Wushuang could already him in terms of battle strength. But now, after Jian Wushuang successfully devised his third sword principle, he would be able to kill him easily. Mo Lin, let's go. Di Yen whispered. Mo Lin was reluctant to lose this chance, but he had to leave. Since they were no longer able to kill Jian Wushuang, the only option was to leave with the rest of the Black Python clan. Except just as they turned around, they heard a voice call out. You've really made yourselves at home, haven't you? Jian Wushuang's cold voice reverberated across the sky. Di Yen, Mo Lin, and other Black Python clan experts all stopped in their tracks and turned to regard Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang, we're already about to leave, what do you want from us? Do you want us to stay forever? Di Yen questioned Jian Wushuang angrily. Yes, in fact, I do. Jian Wushuang smiled quietly. Interesting. Di Yen snorted. I admit that since you've broken through, you are now more capable than me. But so what? I'm fast. I can outrun you easily. If you want me to stay forever, make me. Di Yen taunted. Both he and Mo Lin knew they could not match Jian Wushuang in terms of brute force. However, they both believed that they could outrun him easily. You're right, Di Yen. Under normal circumstances, I can't outrun you. But look around yourself now. The severity of Jian Wushuang's voice sent a tremor through the listeners. At his own words, he secretly commanded his slaughter body. No one had discovered that his slaughter body set up dragon-trapping spell formation in secret. The spell formation was complete and awaiting his signal. At his signal, his slaughter body activated the spell formation at once. All of a sudden, a transparent shield wove together to cover the nearby void in its entirety. Jian Wushuang, Qi Yen, Mo Lin, and the other experts were all trapped. At that moment, Jian Wushuang's expression spoke death. There is no escape for anyone today. Chapter 1023, Kill Them All. Chapter 1023, Kill Them All. There is no escape for anyone today. Jian Wushuang spat out the sentence with murderous undertone and darted out like a ghost. Oh no! Is this a trap? We're trapped. Seeing the enchanted walls rising around them, all the Black Python clansmen were stunned, especially Di Yen and Mo Lin. They weren't stupid, they knew that the enchantment was a trap. But out of nowhere, the light of a powerful sword barreled toward the Black Python clansmen. Watch out! Di Yen shouted. Just in time, the clansmen sensed the attack and retreated. But just as they turned around, why am I so slow? What has happened to me? To their surprise, they all discovered that they could no longer move at a normal pace and couldn't dodge the sword's blow. It was as if they had been chained down. Without pause, a forceful consciousness attack landed upon them. Inside the enchantment, all the Black Python clan experts froze like a stone. They could only watch as Jian Wushuang's sword struck them. Swish! The remorseless blade split through their bodies in an instant. Back when he had only devised 2 sword principles, Jian Wushuang had managed to kill 8 Dao Masters with the Death Shadow. But now, it was much easier for him to slay these Black Python clan experts. In just a brief moment, all the clansmen had been eliminated except for Mo Lin and Di Yen. Bastard! Mo Lin's eyes widened at the sight of the bloodshed. The noble protectors of his people had all been slain by Jian Wushuang in the blink of an eye. You must die too. Relenting to his murderous rage, Jian Wushuang rushed at Mo Lin and Dian. Oh no! Despair marked the faces of Di Yen and Mo Lin. Also slowed down and trapped by the enchantment of the Chaos Gems, there was no path for them to escape. Stall him, it is not easy to maintain this enchantment. Di Yen shouted. Mo Lin nodded resolutely, and they joined forces in an attempt to stop Jian Wushuang. Break! Jian Wushuang brandished his Blood Mountain sword. The mighty blow melded together the power of his 3 sword principles. Di Yan lifted his hand and used all of his strength. Right beside him, Mo Lin waved a giant axe at Jian Wushuang savagely. 1 versus 2. But then, bam! Di Yan let out a grunt as he was forced backward, and Mo Lin spat out a mouthful of blood. Death Shadow. Jian Wushuang's second move, the fast Death Shadow, charged straight toward Mo Lin. Too fast. Not just fast, the blow was also filled with a consciousness attack. Already injured, Mo Lin struggled to hold himself up and could do nothing to block the Death Shadow. No! Mo Lin screamed, but the sword didn't slow down. It slashed through his neck. Swish! A human head fell. The leader of the Black Python clan, Mo Lin, was dead. Damn! How is he so powerful? Di Yan's hope died. He had expected Mo Lin to stop Jian Wushuang as the enchantment around them was so difficult to sustain. He thought that if they could stall until the trap disappeared, they could run. Never in his wildest dream did he expect that Mo Lin would be killed in the blink of an eye. Jian Wushuang was far more capable than he thought. If he's dead, then there is no hope for me. Di Yan looked desperate because he saw rage flash in Jian Wushuang's eyes. A bloodthirsty aura shrouded Jian Wushuang. It was so potent that Di Yan could almost touch it. If they were anywhere, he would not have been so hopeless. But trapped in the enchantment and slower than normal, he could not fight Jian Wushuang. Dao Master Dreamless, please help me. Di Yan turned his face toward Dao Master Dreamless in the nearby void. Desperation cracked his voice. Please, I'll remember your help forever. Please. Di Yan was shouting at the top of his lungs. But Dao Master Dreamless stayed motionless with his arms folded. I've told you. I only came to deal with Jian Wushuang. Since I failed, I won't interfere anymore. This war between the Black Python clan and Jian Wushuang is none of my business. Dao Master Dreamless' merciless voice rang. Bastard! Di Yan cursed. Jian Wushuang was now right in front of Di Yan. Die! Without any hesitation, the Blood Mountain sword cut into Di Yan. Di Yan was almost defenseless, and after only 3 strikes, he was heavily injured. Jian Wushuang kept attacking him. Stop, Jian Wushuang. I'm begging you. Di Yan cried. Now you're begging me? He just snorted and his barbaric expression didn't change. Jian Wushuang wanted to kill Di Yan more than he did the Black Python clan. Di Yan had caused him distress many a time, and Jian Wushuang hadn't been strong enough to return the favor. Now he would not hesitate to kill him. No, you can't. Di Yan shrieked. Jian Wushuang, my father is the Empyrean Patriarch, he's the Empyrean Patriarch. The Empyrean Patriarch? Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes but did not stop. He just snorted again. Who's he? I've never heard of him. You, Di Yan was speechless. Before he could speak, a sword sliced into him. And this time he had no more words. Chapter 1024, Empyrean Patriarch. Chapter 1024, Empyrean Patriarch. Bang! The fierce blow pierced through Di Yan's protections and direly landed on his body. The power even drowned Di Yan's last screech and slew him quietly. Finally, when peace was once more restored, the void was gradually healing. Is he dead? The Rock Demon Clan's masters, including God Hong, all froze there, stunned. They had witnessed the entire battle. Jian Wushuang had confronted Dao Master Dreamless and broken through. Now, he actually annihilated the Black Python clan along with Di Yan with his thunderous strikes. Jian Wushuang really impressed them. They even failed to collect their thoughts yet. However, shortly after, among the Rock Demon clan, thunderous cheering echoed. He's dead. The leader of the Black Python clan, Mo Lin, is dead. All the Black Python clan experts, all of them were killed by Master Wushuang alone. The crowd cheered. Jian Wushuang was not impressed. He stared coldly at the bodies on the ground and murmured to himself. I've just created my Scarlet Yang sword principle and haven't conjured a matching strong swordsmanship. Otherwise, I could have killed Dian easily. Jian Wushuang was fully aware that he had achieved a brand new level after devising the Scarlet Yang sword principle. He was almost a celestial master, even could surpass Emperor Shao or Emperor Yun. Without a matching swordsmanship, he was unable to perform the third sword principle to the fullest extent. Jian Wushuang. Dao Master Dreamless voice rang. I must admit that you're not only gifted but also brave. Dao Master Dreamless smiled. When Dian told you about his father, you killed him still well. Empyrean Patriarch? Curious, Jian Wushuang had to ask, Dao Master, who is Empyrean Patriarch? You really don't know him? Dao Master Dreamless stared at Jian Wushuang in amazement. At that moment, he thought Jian Wushuang was playing dumb. He did not expect that Jian Wushuang was really unaware of Empyrean Patriarch. To be honest, I come from Void Continent and just arrived here recently. I don't know much about experts on Samsara Continent. Jian Wushuang admitted. That explains. If you're born here, you would have known him. Dao Master Dreamless knitted his brows and cast a serious look at Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang, you don't want to mess with Empyrean Patriarch. If I'm not mistaken, he must be a celestial master, said Jian Wushuang. Dian was already a Dao Master at the peak of rank 3. If he talked someone before his death, that someone must be stronger than him, more capable than a celestial master. Right, he's a celestial master, and one of the troublesome kind. Dao Master Dreamless continued, have you seen Dian's bloodline? Yes, he's from the Sky-Devouring clan. Jian Wushuang answered. You're right, Dao Master Dreamless confirmed. You must know that on Samsara Continent, there are many unique bloodlines of high value. Those bloodlines are rare and highly leveled. Even in the grand eternal chaotic world, Sky-Devouring clan belongs to the rarest and the most valuable bloodlines. On Samsara Continent, there were 2 men with that bloodline. One is Di Yen, the other is his father, Empyrean Patriarch. Empyrean Patriarch has gained himself a reputation years ago. He even stands out among celestial masters. Moreover, he's wild and listens to no one. In the past, he was already famous for being murderous. In Green Fire World, everyone fears him. Even Samsara Temple, though we've got lots of experts, however, except the Temple Master, he cares none of us. Peak populations of Samsara Continent dare not to provoke him. So, you may call him a wild, mad, and troublesome old monster. And you killed the monster's only son. What do you say? Do you think he'll seek a revenge? Hearing out Dao Master Dreamless, Jian Wushuang was stunned. Before he killed Dian, he vaguely guessed that Empyrean Patriarch was a celestial master. However, he did not expect such a notorious and strong celestial master. It was no good to be targeted by such a capable celestial master. To hell with it, if he wants a revenge on me, he can try. Jian Wushuang just smiled. You're bold. Dao Master Dreamless shook his head smilingly. Or what? I've killed him. There's nothing I can do. Jian Wushuang remained calm. He never regretted one single of his decisions. Since he decided to kill Dian, he would pay whatever price that would cost. So what if Empyrean Patriarch sought his revenge? He had destroyed Dao Yuanzi, who was much stronger than Empyrean Patriarch. He would not be scared of the latter. Dao Master Dreamless, thanks to you, I've created my third sword principle. If it's convenient for you, why don't we stay for a drink? I happen to have something to ask you. He invited the Dao Master. Sure. Dao Master Dreamless accepted the invitation. Then, they headed straight to the city of the Rock Demon clan, where they were warmly received. In a grand temple, Jian Wushuang and Dao Master Dreamless sat face to face. In between them, there was a table lined with cuisine and fine wines. They talked during the meal. The Rock Demon clan expert stayed at the outside. Jian Wushuang, to be honest, are you really just in Eternal Realm? Dao Master Dreamless looked into Jian Wushuang's eyes. Chapter 1025 Green Fire Palace. Chapter 1025 Green Fire Palace. Are you really just an Eternal Realm expert? Upon hearing Dao Master Dreamless' question, Jian Wushuang smiled helplessly. I'm indeed at the Eternal Realm, but my bloodline power has already reached the Dao Master level. To be precise, I'm a Dao Master presently. Jian Wushuang was telling the truth. The inverse cultivator at the Eternal Realm was regarded as a Dao Master in the eternal chaotic world. His ancient god power had reached the 3-star level. In this aspect, he was on a par with a Dao Master as well. All this proved that he was qualified to be a Dao Master. Really? I assume you cannot be so powerful without other factors. Dao Master Dreamless sighed with emotion. After knocking a glass of wine back, Jian Wushuang smiled and asked casually, Dao Master Dreamless, mighty as you are, you probably are a rank 8 reincarnator, right? Yes. Dao Master Dreamless nodded. Overjoyed, Jian Wushuang immediately said seriously, Dao Master Dreamless, to be honest, I persuaded you to stay here because I hope you can do me a favor. Oh. Dao Master Dreamless raised his eyebrows, but he did not feel surprised. Tell me about it. I'll do my best if I can. Dao Master Dreamless was an amiable man. He relished networking with many people. He preferred to make contact with experts like Jian Wushuang, who was powerful and had great potentials. Normally, he would not refuse if he could assist them. Jian Wushuang said, 2,000 years ago, one of my close relatives was selected as the reincarnator by the Samsara Temple, but I haven't received any message from him until now. That was why I came here from the Void Continent. I'm looking for him. In order to do that, I paid a big price to Jin Yu, a gold-clothed deacon, but he failed to find him. Therefore, I have no other choice but to ask a rank 8 reincarnator for help. You want me to search for your relative using my powers? Dao Master Dreamless glanced at Jian Wushuang. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded solemnly. I'm ready to pay any price as long as you're willing to help me. Dao Master Dreamless frowned. Do you have difficulty doing that? Asked Jian Wushuang. I'm sorry. I can't help you with that. Dao Master Dreamless shook his head. Why? Jian Wushuang's heart knocked. I do want to help you. Dao Master Dreamless gave a wry smile. Considering your potential, if you don't die young, you definitely can become a top-notch person in the Green Fire world. I wish to make friends with you or let you owe me a favor. But I can do nothing on this matter. Jian Wushuang, you may not know that the experts in the Samsara Temple are actually divided into 2 categories. The first kind is responsible for matters related to the selection of reincarnators, while the second kind is the law executors who are in charge of removing all obstacles for the Samsara Temple through battles. These 2 types of experts hold different posts. You can also regard them as 2 main factions. Neither side will intervene in each other's affairs. As a heaven-level law executor, my job is to fight on the battlefield. I have no control over the information about those reincarnators and thus cannot aid you. I don't have the right to do that. Really? Jian Wushuang had a rather surprised look on his face. He always harbored the idea that as long as he found a rank 8 reincarnator, he could look up the information of all reincarnators below rank 8. However, things went contrary to his wishes. In fact, there were 2 major factions in the Samsara Temple. The law executors were only responsible for fighting outside. Jian Wushuang, you should ask inner elders for help. They are rank 8 reincarnators and are in charge of the selection of reincarnators. They should be very clear about the information of reincarnators below rank 8. Dao Master Dreamless said, Inner elder? Jian Wushuang bore this in mind. I seldom make contact with them, but I can introduce you the only one I am familiar with. Dao Master Dreamless added. Jian Wushuang's eyes immediately lit up. Although Dao Master Dreamless could not help him find his father's whereabouts, it would be very kind of him to introduce him an inner elder. That elder named Ding Imo. I'll send him a message. You just need to take this token to find him in the divine monster territory. That old man has a strange temper, but he ought to do me a favor and meet you. I just don't know when he plans to meet you. Dao Master Dreamless continued. Thank you a lot. Jian Wushuang took the token and said appreciatively. You're welcome. Dao Master Dreamless waved his hand casually. By the way, Dao Master Dreamless, I remember you mentioned the Green Fire Palace before. What's that? Jian Wushuang asked again. Green Fire Palace. Dao Master Dreamless had the yearning for it written on his face. He murmured, I just heard about that organization but am not qualified to join it. So, I don't know much about it either. I just know it's the assembly site of top-notch experts in the Green Fire world. It has a high requirement on people who join it. Normally, only when one's strength reaches the Celestial Master level can he receive its invitation. Others who are qualified to join being the rulers of some forces that have power. In other words, 90% of the top-class experts and forces in the entire Green Fire world are its members. The Samsara Temple in the Samsara continent, the few advanced populations here, the Void Temple in the Void continent, and the 4 big countries are all its affiliates. Jian Wushuang was taken aback as he heard all this. As the overlords of 2 continents, the Samsara Temple and the Void Temple are just its members. How terrifying that organization is. Well, what about the Empyrean Patriarch? Jian Wushuang asked with a solemn face. According to what you've said, almost all of the top-class experts in the Green Fire world are its members. Given his strength, he should be able to join it, right? Of course. Dao Master Dreamless nodded. In terms of strength, he's indeed qualified to join the Green Fire Palace, but it's a pity that he's obstinate and unruly. Moreover, he's always overweening. It's said that when he broke through to the Celestial Master level, the Green Fire Palace had invited him, but he directly refused. Refused? Jian Wushuang looked at Dao Master Dreamless, dumbfounded. So many top experts, including the 2 temples, joined the Green Fire Palace. There must be something special about it. But why did Empyrean Patriarch refuse it? That's all I know about the Green Fire Palace. Jian Wushuang, if you want to know more, just practice hard. The Green Fire Palace will invite you after you break through to the Celestial Master level. You'll understand everything then. Dao Master Dreamless said. Chapter 1026, Wrath. Chapter 1026, Wrath. Dao Master Dreamless did not linger here any longer but left soon. While leaving, he warned Jian Wushuang to guard against Empyrean Patriarch. After that, Jian Wushuang called on God Hong. Big Brother Hong, what happened to the Black Python clan? Asked Jian Wushuang. What could they do? God Hong said with a grin. You killed Mo Lin as well as 90% of the experts of that clan. Thus, it is no longer qualified to be called an advanced population. Everyone tends to hit a person when he is down. This clan is doomed to disappear even without my clan taking any actions. It would be a blessing for it if some of its clansmen have escaped. Jian Wushuang agreed with him secretly. He was aware that the battles between different populations on the Samsara continent were unusually crazy and cruel. Without him, the Rock Demon clan would have been exterminated. Chances were that only a few of its clansmen could escape. And thus, he caused the Black Python clan to fall on hard times. Jian Wushuang was quite helpless in this regard. Since the Black Python clan has been wiped out, there should be no population that can threaten the Rock Demon clan on this territory. It's time for me to leave, said Jian Wushuang. You are going to leave? God Hong's expression changed slightly. The 9 sword scars left behind by Sunrise Sword Emperor are not as useful to me as they used to be. Furthermore, I have something else to do. So, I have to depart. Jian Wushuang said smilingly. All right. God Hong said with a nod. Well, what about Empyrean Patriarch? When God Hong was on the battlefield previously, he heard Dao Master Dreamless mention Empyrean Patriarch. He is a threat to me, but he can do nothing to me, Jian Wushuang said with confidence. Great. God Hong sighed with relief. Big Brother Hong, see you then. After giving God Hong some advice, Jian Wushuang bid farewell to him and left. He came to the Rock Demon clan for returning God Hong's favor in the ancient world. He had done what he could and there was no need for him to linger any longer. His next destination was the Divine Monster territory. This was where Elder Ding Mo was at. There existed an enormous but secluded castle that was surrounded by dark airflow hundreds of millions of miles away from the Rock Demon clan in a vast range of mountains. It stood erect over the years, but few people nearby perceived its existence. Out of blue, a terrifying aura emanated from this black castle. This aura spread far and wide along with overwhelming rage and pressure. It influenced untold warriors and some Dao masters in a common population tens of thousands of miles away, resulting them to tremble with fear. All these warriors were in a state of panic. Died? My son Di Yen is dead? A short-haired, lean elder stood in the void above the black castle. The ferocious look in his eyes made him look more arrogant and obstinate. His name, Empyrean Patriarch, terrified all the people on the Samsara continent. At this moment, Empyrean Patriarch was quivering, his eyes blazing with fury. Undisciplined and out of control, he was quite a strange character who always tyrannized other people on the Samsara continent. Moreover, as a member of the Sky-Devouring clan, he had an inborn fondness of his only son and took very good care of him. This was a known fact to all experts and populations on the Samsara continent. Therefore, even though they knew that Di Yen was running amok and had devoured the essence blood of some rare bloodlines, they could only turn a blind eye for fear of provoking Empyrean Patriarch. Everyone there deferred to Empyrean Patriarch. Even if Di Yen had taken too far sometimes and displeased some top experts, they only slightly punished him but did not dare to kill him due to Empyrean Patriarch. That had been the case for years. No one had ever thought that his son would have been killed today. Jian Wushuang. Empyrean Patriarch growled. He was informed of his son's death and the information about the killer at the same time. An expert majored in sword principle named Jian Wushuang. To his surprise, Jian Wushuang was merely at the Eternal Realm. How dare you killed him as you knew his identity? I don't care your identity, your background, and origin. I swear I must kill you. You definitely will come to a tragic end. Where are my 10 protectors? Empyrean Patriarch's roar echoed throughout the world. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Quick as a flash, 10 figures flew out of the castle and appeared in front of Empyrean Patriarch. They knelt down before him immediately, paying respects to Ancestor. Their voices were ear-splitting. All of them were powerful Dao Masters and 3 of them were peak rank 3 Dao Masters. Moreover, they were experts who sought refuge with Empyrean Patriarch. Follow me. Empyrean Patriarch waved his sleeve and they set off at once. He went to the Samsara temple to borrow the wormhole. The wormhole would not open to the outside world easily, but the Samsara temple was obliged to give him face given his ferocity. It only took him a few days to arrive at the territory of the Rock Demon clan through the wormhole. Did my son die here? Floating in the void above the Rock Demon clan, Empyrean Patriarch gave off a horrible pressure. It came crushing down upon the members of this clan and subdued them. Wave after wave shrill cries rang out and a large number of its clansmen knelt down under the pressure. Stop, stop. A voice mixed with shock and anger sounded, and then God Hong arrived here together with some top experts from the Rock Demon clan. As soon as he appeared in the void, he saw Empyrean Patriarch. The latter emanated a horrifying pressure that he could hardly resist. Celestial Master, he is a Celestial Master. God Hong clenched his fists after he figured out the identity of the man in front of him. I'm God Hong, the clan leader of the Rock Demon clan, paying respects to Empyrean Patriarch. God Hong said respectfully. Where is Jian Wushuang? Chapter 1027, Friendly Relations. Chapter 1027, Friendly Relations. Where is Jian Wushuang? Empyrean Patriarch's voice sounded extremely cold. Neither did he care God Hong nor the Rock Demon clan. He only had Jian Wushuang in his mind. Hearing his words, God Hong quivered with fear. But he still answered, Jian Wushuang left here a few days ago. Where did he go? Empyrean Patriarch stared at God Hong. I don't know. God Hong shook his head. You don't know? Empyrean Patriarch said with a rather cold voice. All of a sudden, a terrifying pressure swept toward God Hong. Although God Hong was a rank 3 Dao master who possessed the bloodline of the rock demon giant and formidable defense capability, he was suppressed by this pressure. He directly spat a mouthful of blood, and his internal injuries, which had not been completely recovered, were again aggravated. However, he had no time to attend this matter and wipe the blood from his mouth. He said hurriedly, Empyrean Patriarch, I really don't know where he went. Really? Empyrean Patriarch didn't ask any more, but his cold eyes looked at the habitat of the rock demon clan below. My son died here. This is his burial place. Thus, there can be no living creatures within a radius of 10,000 miles. Millions of your clansmen must die and be buried with him. Empyrean Patriarch said in a mild tone, which, unexpectedly, contained overwhelming killing intent. The two simple sentences sentenced the entire rock demon clan to death. After they heard that, the expressions of the 10 protectors behind Empyrean Patriarch turned grim. They all relished slaughtering and had slain a lot of people on the Samsara continent. The reason why they sought refuge with Empyrean Patriarch was that they were pursued by some powerful populations and experts from the Samsara continent. They had no other choice. Hearing that Empyrean Patriarch was going to exterminate the rock demon clan, they all got excited. Nevertheless, the expressions of God Hong and other experts from this clan changed sharply. Empyrean Patriarch, there is a special place in our clan and I wish you can follow me and have a look at it. Suddenly, God Hong said seriously. Oh! Empyrean Patriarch's expression slightly altered. At a critical moment when he planned to wipe out the rock demon clan, God Hong said he wanted to take him to another place. Did he think that place could change his decision? Empyrean Patriarch, please follow me. God Hong managed to restrain his fear and led Empyrean Patriarch into the territory of his clan. With a mighty strength, Empyrean Patriarch feared nothing. He followed God Hong and arrived at the valley where Jian Wushuang had meditated earlier after a short while. Empyrean Patriarch, look at there. God Hong pointed at the cliff dotted with sword scars. Empyrean Patriarch's eyes swept across the cliff and he noticed the 9 sword scars on it with a glance. Then he started to look through them. When he saw the first sword scar, a trace of disdain flashed past his eyes. And when he glanced over the second sword scar, he was still unimpressed with it. However, a little bit of surprise flashed past his eyes as he observed the third sword scar. When he scanned the 4th, 5th, and 6th sword scars, his face gradually grew solemn. And when he fixed his eyes on the 7th sword scar, a hint of horror could be seen in his eyes. The moment his eyes swept across the 9th sword scar, his heart knocked and eyes popped. What a terrifying sword! He was a man of powerful strength and had experienced a lot. Therefore, he was very clear about the horror of the sword that left the 9th sword scar. That sword was so fast that no one in this world could block its attack, including him. Although there are numerous experts who study sword principle in the entire Green Fire world, only one is qualified to display such a horrible swordsmanship. The first sword cultivator, Sunrise Sword Emperor. His eyes flickered with cold light. Empyrean Patriarch, I assume you have recognized the owner of the sword scars. God Hong said. So what? Empyrean Patriarch replied in a deep voice. Nothing. I just want you to know that my clan is on friendly terms with the legendary Sunrise Sword Emperor. 20,000 years ago, he passed by and happened to gain insight into sword principle. As a result, he stayed here and meditated in this valley for 2 years. We have provided him everything we could during this period. When he left, he deliberately left these sword scars in our clan. God Hong said calmly, Jian Wushuang is a sword cultivator and he stayed here due to the sword scars. Just at this moment, Di Yen and the Black Python clan invaded here and disturbed him. He then acted and killed them. He did all this for his sake. He knew he killed your son and provoked you. Hence, he left directly regardless of our safety. You mean your clan has nothing to do with this matter? Empyrean Patriarch cast a cold glance at God Hong. Since Di Yen died on our territory, we cannot shrink from the responsibility. I just want to tell you that we are kind of close to Sunrise Sword Emperor but not familiar with Jian Wushuang. His only purpose of staying here is to study the sword scars. God Hong added. Upon hearing this, Empyrean Patriarch narrowed his eyes. He was far from a fool and naturally would not blindly believe what God Hong had said. Given his character, even if God Hong disowned Jian Wushuang, he would exterminate the Rock Demon clan without hesitation. The reason why he didn't take action was that he feared Sunrise Sword Emperor immensely. The sword scars in this valley were definitely left by Sunrise Sword Emperor. He could tell that they actually had existed for 20,000 years from their appearances. The Rock Demon clan, however, had been living here over the past hundreds of thousands of years. God Hong did tell the truth. In other words, the Rock Demon clan did have friendly relations with Sunrise Sword Emperor. This meant he must look before he leapt. Sunrise Sword Emperor. His mind quivered with fear at this name. There were very few people in the entire Greenfire world that could cause him to fear. But Sunrise Sword Emperor was definitely the one who was able to do so. That you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.